It's time for Sports 56 Middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. The first hour of Sports 56 Middays is brought to you by Action247.com. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
I got a piece of land out in the countryside. Lay back and smell the sun. Warm up the Georgia pie. Feels so good to be taking it easy. Why would I ever leave? 'Cause I know I got some good friends.
It is an absolutely gorgeous day. I mean, picture perfect Chamber of Commerce weather here in Memphis. Get out and enjoy it. Hope your Wednesday is off to a great start. We got a lot to talk about here on this edition of Sports 56 Middays. Hello, everybody. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Gabe Kuhn. We are in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. First hour of the program brought to you by Action 24/7. It's the Wednesday, May 5th, 2021 edition of Sports 56 Middays. Happy Cinco de Mayo as we celebrate today on this May 5th. Today on the program, we are loaded. We're going to talk plenty of Grizzlies to start things off. The Grizz back in action tonight in Minnesota as they begin a 3-game road trip. They have 8 games remaining. We'll let you know what happened in the NBA last night as the Grizzlies were off and how it affects the Grizzlies. John Morant says he's a top 5 point guard in the NBA. We will discuss that. Sean Coleman will join us at 10:25, writer for Grizzly Bear Blues and the host of the Locked On Grizz podcast will be coming your way at 10:25. At 11:05, our good friend Joe Theismann, the Super Bowl champion quarterback and former NFL MVP, on Aaron Rodgers and all things NFL, especially quarterbacks after the draft has already taken place. We'll talk to Joe about that. At 11:25, Ryan Miller joins us, who's now an assistant basketball coach at Creighton after many years at TCU. Ryan will be at Creighton as his nephew, Mason Miller, joins the Blue Jays. We will talk about that and all things college basketball, including how tough it's been recruiting with Ryan Miller at 11:25. And then at 12:25, our 3-man scramble, as Jay Hasselman will join us, as he does every week, from Edwin Watts. We'll make our picks for this week's Wells Fargo Championship. A pretty good field for this one. I would say a darn good field. And we'll give you a chance to win our weekly prize, $20 gift card to Edwin Watts, and be in the grand prize drawing for a $100 gift card to Edwin Watts and golf around the area. So we'll do that later on in the show. Again, 12:25. And then we'll wrap things up right before 1 o'clock and then hand things over to John Hart. Now, it's Wednesday. That usually means 5 favorite things. I gave you the topic yesterday. Because the text line is still not working today, our First Bank text line, it is expected to be ready to go tomorrow. So let's put off for just this week 5 favorite things until tomorrow, and that will give everybody an opportunity that's not on social media, that just wants to text in, to go ahead and get their lists in. So once again, for tomorrow, 5 favorite things, board games, your 5 favorite board games to play. We'll do that on the show tomorrow. Hey, Eli, how are you?
I'm good. I do have a question on that, on the board game.
Yes.
Is Yahtzee a board game?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
because you don't require a board to play Yahtzee.
Yeah, and I know John had hit us up on Facebook yesterday about card games. So, board games, games that are played on the table. Look, let's just eliminate card games like solitaire and poker and blackjack. Let's just get rid of those. Now, Uno's fine, Yahtzee's fine. Games.
Well, Uno is a card game.
Yeah, you're right. Uno's not fine. Uno's not fine.
Let's eliminate card games. Uno's fine.
No. I'm sorry. I got confused there for a second. But there are games that go beyond just board games, but they're considered board games. For example, the game Battleship. You're not really playing it on a board. You're playing it with the 2 little setups in front of you. I mean, that's fine. Pictionary. You're writing the pictures and all that. That's fine. Let's just eliminate cards, and then we'll go from there. Okay? So we'll do that again tomorrow. Just for this week, we'll have it on Thursday, our 5 favorite things. Okay. The Grizzlies tonight start a road trip. They've lost 4 out of 5, 2 in a row. They'll play Minnesota. Not a great team, but a team playing much better of late. And then they'll continue the road trip on Thursday, so tomorrow night in Detroit. The injury report is out. Jaren Jackson Jr. will not play tonight, so that means he'll be available, I assume, tomorrow in Detroit. He's out because of the return from injury management. The Grizzlies are 2-0 versus Minnesota this season. They've won 5 straight overall against the Timberwolves, and the Grizzlies are 18-14 on the road. They are playing pretty darn well away from the friendly confines of FedEx Forum. Dylan Brooks in his last 10 games is averaging 19.9 points per game in 29.3 minutes per game. So I think tonight is a good test, Eli, to see if they are so broke that they can't be fixed down the stretch, which I don't agree with, or how much improvement we have seen from Minnesota over the last few weeks. I expect it to be a pretty competitive game. But if the Grizzlies, again, are to solidify at least 8th in the play-in, then they better take care of business. This road trip is not the hardest, going to Detroit and then Toronto. Toronto played well last night in the game against the Clippers. But you have to take care of business. And the Grizzlies have not been playing well. This is their opportunity to find their way.
Yeah, you've got these 3 road games. You probably need to win all 3 of them. If you're looking at that 8th spot, it's going to be interesting. They've got 2 more games remaining than the Warriors, and they're 1 up in the loss column on them. But the Warriors' next 2 games are against Oklahoma City, who has now lost 18 out of 19 or 19 out of 20. Oklahoma City loses every game.
They have waved the white towel. Plus, they lost the other night to Indiana by 100.
Yeah, so you expect the Warriors probably going to win the next 2 games. And the Warriors are done with road games. The Warriors are at home the rest of the way.
Wow.
So their last 6 games are all at home. Now after they get Oklahoma City, they've got Utah, they've got Phoenix coming up. Both teams have a game against New Orleans remaining. And then, of course, they got a game against each other out at Golden State. So, I mean, there's a good chance that final game of the season could decide who is 8 and who is 9 for the play-in. Mm-hmm. I mean, it could be basically an extra play-in game. Kind of we're going to decide who's in the 7-8, who's in the 9-10, and that very well could happen. But but for the Grizzlies, you really need to probably win all 3. You absolutely have to have 2 of the 3 on this road trip.
So tonight, without Jaren Jackson Jr. available, that would, I would assume, mean Brandon Clark will get action, because he did not see action in the last game, and I'm not sure how many games in a row now with the DNP's coach's decision. So I assume Brandon Clark will see action. We'll, of course, see Xavier Tillman backing up Jonas Valanciunas. And then it'll be interesting to see what happens with the distribution of minutes for the 2-guard, assuming Grayson Allen starts again, with Desmond Bane coming off the bench, with the struggling DeAnthony Melton coming off the bench as well. And then the backup point guard, it looks like Tyus Jones is that guy now, as Winslow had a DNP in their last game. Didn't change the fortunes of the team, but it seemed like the front office may have been listening to the voices around Memphis, whether it be fans or whether it be the media, that Justice Winslow should not be playing. We'll see if they change their mind again and give him some minutes. But it's a game you better win. And right now, the updated Western Conference standings of teams that are in the mix for those final couple playoff spots and then the play-in to gain the final 2 playoff spots, you're looking at Dallas in 5th, Los Angeles in 6th. They are technically tied 37-28, their record, but Dallas has the tiebreak over the Lakers. Portland is a game behind those 2 at 36-29. So Portland right now would be obviously in the play-in. If you're a top 6, you're automatically in the playoffs. But they still can catch the Lakers, Dallas, both. Then you drop off 3.5 games behind Portland is Golden State and Memphis. And then a game behind Memphis is San Antonio. So that's the battle right there, as Eli was alluding to with Golden State and the Grizzlies. It could very well come down to that final game between the Warriors and the Grizzlies. Golden State 33-33, the Grizzlies 32-32. So 6 games remaining for the Warriors, 8 for the Grizzlies. Spurs are 31-33, so they have 8 games remaining. And the Pelicans are not done yet. They won last night. They knocked off the Warriors 108 to 103. I think there was a come to Jesus meeting after their last loss where Zion was the only one who showed up with his 32. And Lonzo Ball told Zion Williamson, I will be there for us going into last night's game. And he was there for them. He was big, especially down the stretch. So the Pelicans, 30-36, they are 2 games behind the Spurs, and they are 3 games behind the Grizzlies and the Warriors, and they have 6 games remaining. So it's not over yet.
No, they had to win last night. They did. You could call it a come to Jesus, or maybe it was Jesus that came and turned the lights out, because after the lights went out, Steph Curry couldn't make a shot in that game.
Or the shoot in the dark.
He went 1 for 11 and 0 for 6 from three-point range after the lights went out, when he was 8 of 14 from 3 and 12 of 20 overall before the power outage.
What are you saying, Eli? Was there a little something to try to cool down Steph Curry?
Well, we have seen a power outage in the middle of a big game in New Orleans before, which changed the momentum of that game. You may remember a Super Bowl that a power outage in New Orleans changed the momentum of the game.
Yeah, maybe it's just bad services down there.
But yeah, Lonzo Ball.
Power and gas is not that good.
Give Lonzo Ball credit. He went 3 for 18 the night before from the field, and then came back last night, 7 of 13 from three-point range, 33 points in that game. In New Orleans, that was a must-win to even have any chance whatsoever. Still a very difficult task. The big hope for them is the fact that San Antonio's brutal schedule could cause problems for them the rest of the way. But I still don't see New Orleans winning enough games to catch them. But I give them credit. They backs against the wall, must-win game. They come out and find a way to win a game. One of the hottest teams in the West. Even if it requires shutting the lights out.
That's right. One of the hottest teams in the West is Sacramento, but they're just too far behind. They're behind New Orleans, but they have gone on a roll here of late, but too little, too late. All right. So John Morant was on TNT and was asked, I guess, about how he looks at himself compared to other point guards around the league. And John Morant said he's a top 5 point guard. This is a perfect question to throw out to our listeners, and obviously you can't hit us on the normal text line, the First Bank text line, not available today. Again, we're hoping it'll be ready to go tomorrow, and that would be 70236. But you can, if you're watching us live, message us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, at sports56whbq.com. Obviously, you don't have to be watching us to go ahead and send us a text via the social media outlets I just mentioned or the website, and we could pass along any information, any comment, question you have. But I would love to hear from everybody on what they think about John Morant. I love that John Morant has that confidence about himself. I mean, he's certainly not missing that. But Gabe and I, before the show, were just kind of going through the point guards around the league. And we asked Anthony Sane on his way out what he thought. I know Evan Barnes from the Commercial Appeal has a poll going on social media right now about that. I'm sorry. Ja is fantastic. We love Ja. He's a highlight ready to happen. He's must-watch TV. Right now, second year NBA, he is not a top 5 point guard.
No, I mean, and he's not right now, not real close to top 5, but yeah, I mean, listen, if you're a player like him, you have to have that confidence and you have to believe that in yourself.
Right. And I love that.
And someday, hopefully he will be a top 5 point guard in the NBA. But right now, he is not even close to top 5.
No, just look at the Nets. James Harden is a point guard, and Kyrie Irving is a point guard. Now, when they play together, one's playing off the ball a little bit more, but they're both point guards. It's not better than those two. We just talked yesterday about Russell Westbrook and what he has done. And once again, another year averaging a triple-double. He's not better than him. Look at Doncic in Dallas. He's in another stratosphere. De'Aaron Fox? I don't think so. Chris Paul could be the MVP this year. And I can go on and on and on. Where does he fall? I think he falls somewhere around 9 to 14, 9 to 15, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think that's fair. What do you think, Gabe?
I'd say top half. And by next year, if he improves his shot, he could be a top 10 guy. But top 5 is just – and obviously you understand the confidence. This is just how he plays. This is how he talks to the media. But top 5 is definitely not realistic right now.
No, see, I love the self-confidence. You have to have that. It's a big part of anything, any walk of life, is to have confidence in yourself. But you also can't be delusional and unrealistic. I mean, does he really, in his heart of hearts, believe? I mean, did he go over every point guard and say, I'm better than Chris Paul, or I'm better than this guy? I mean, he has to be able to count at least 5 guys that are much better than him at this point right now. So that's you don't hope. That's the one thing you don't hope, is that he thinks he's better than what he is. He's fun to watch. He is a budding star. He's not a superstar. Could he be? Yes, absolutely could be. Could be extremely marketable. He's already starting to be marketed. But you can't have these lulls of games where he's just bad. Every once in a while, you could throw up a clunker. But when you are an elite point guard, 9 out of 10 games you play really, really well. Some better than others, but usually have one clunker. I mean, he'll go in a 6-game span, have 2 or 3 clunkers.
Well, I mean, if you just like off the top of your head, I mean, you mentioned Harden and Irving and Westbrook, Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, Chris Paul, Luka Doncic. I mean, that's 7 guys right there.
Right.
That are like, that's not even debatable. Like, those are clearly better than him at this point. Ben Simmons, like, everybody would take Ben Simmons over him. And then you can get into the other group, like, then you could kind of, you could maybe make some debates, but I would, with like the De'Aaron Foxes and Trae Youngs, Mike Conley, Jamal Murray, Kemba Walker, like that group of guys, you could kind of figure out, are they all better than him? Do you think he's maybe better than 1 or 2 of those guys? But that's kind of the group of guys he's categorized with. But you've got, I mean, and that's just off the top of my head, 7 guys who are clearly better than him. Yeah, probably 8, because I would include Simmons in that. So you got 8 guys who right there are clearly better than him.
Yeah, there's 7 or 8 guys that you just mentioned. They're superstars. I mean, not just stars, they're superstars. And yes, you can debate some of those other guys. Some I would say absolutely Ja's better than. I would take Ja over Trae Young.
I would too.
But De'Aaron Fox, I don't know if I would take him. What about what LaMelo Ball is doing right now? I think I'd still take Ja, but LaMelo Ball, I mean, he is proving that he could be a top-flight point guard and a scorer as well.
And you also have Kyle Lowry,
who's a perennial all-star.
That I didn't include in that.
I mean, Lonzo Ball, I would take Ja over Lonzo. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, close, but I think I would take Ja. Jamal Murray, close. So the point is, I love the confidence. He's fantastic. We love him here. No question about it. He has changed just everything, the perception of this franchise around the league, because people want to see what Ja's going to do next. But he's still a little bit inconsistent. He's still got a ways to go. And so I would throw him in there at about 9 to 15. But definitely the upper half. I wouldn't drop him anything lower than halfway through. There's 30 teams. 15, I think, is fair. But I
think he's probably right around that 13 to 17 range.
So you go a little further back than I do.
Well, again, I mean, there's 8 guys who I don't think it's arguable. Like, they're clearly better than him.
Mm-hmm.
And is he better than everybody in that other group? No. I mean, that's immediately knocking him down to 11 or 12.
Well, yeah, but you could argue. You could argue that he is. But I see where you're coming from. Yeah, so but I would give him the benefit of the doubt that he's at least in the top half. I wouldn't go beyond 15. But there are so many good point guards. So that, I love it, and then it also concerns me a little bit, because don't be satisfied with where you are now. You can improve. And he has to look at his shooting and go, I can be better. And those
I don't think in any way he's satisfied. I don't think.
Well, if you think right now you're a top 5 point guard the way you're shooting, I mean, how can you think you're a top 5 point guard in this league, as inconsistent a shooter as he is? He'll go on stretches where he catches fire, but again, we're just discussing what he brought up. He has been great. There's no knocks on him from my standpoint, and I don't think from the standpoint of most people who are in Memphis and follow the Grizzlies or are fans of the Grizzlies or cover the Grizzlies. The guy has been a breath of fresh air. Love what he has to say. Shoots from the hip. Such a team player, and it's all positive. But again, if he's going to say something like that, we're going to debate it on Sports Talk Radio, and there's no way he's a top 5 right now. All right, we'll continue the conversation with Sean Coleman on the Grizzlies. What can they do the rest of the way? What has become the issue that has derailed them? Sean Coleman from Grizzly Bear Blues and Locked On Grizz podcast next when we return. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM. As well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, tell Google or Alexa to play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text both to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BOTH to 42424. That's both to 42424.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join us every Saturday morning on Sports 56 WHBQ from 8 to 10 a.m. and 96.1 FM and the new FM 98.5. We'll be covering the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, college football, college basketball, college baseball. We'll look into recruiting. We'll have guests from around the country with the latest news, the most knowledgeable people out there, the coaches, the players, the people who play the games. Don't forget to join us on the sidelines. Sports 56, 96.1, and the new FM 98.5.
Like a coin in your mint, I am tempted.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by Action247.com. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Take me to the pilot for control. Take me to the pilot of your soul.
Welcome back, everybody. 10:27 is the time. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Yesterday, may the 4th be with you. Star Wars reference to May 4th. And we were talking about it on the show yesterday. I saw some of the early Star Wars movies. I'm not into that genre too much, but I saw some of it. I know who R2-D2 is and who Yoda is. But I thought this was pretty cool. Sean Coleman on Twitter yesterday was comparing a Grizzly player to a Star Wars character. So I wanted to bring him on for that and a couple of other things. And some of those characters, I have no idea who they are. Probably some of the the modern Star Wars movies, which may be prequels. I don't know. I'm all confused with Star Wars. But Sean, he's been on with us before. We always love having him. Writer for Grizzly Bear Blues, and he's the host of the Locked On Grizz podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at StatsSAC. Sean Coleman joining us now on Sports 56 Middays. Hey, Sean, how are you?
Well, doing well, and hope the fourth is good with you and Eli this morning, Craig.
Thank you, and you as well. All right, we'll get into that a little bit later on, have a little fun with that. First things first, and that's the comments that John made last night on TNT when Shaq asked him about point guards in the NBA and where he thinks he is. And we've been debating that here in the first segment of the show as we get ready now to ask you. John Morant thinks he's the top 5. We say not even close to a top 5. What say you?
It depends on what perspective you're looking at. In terms of this season and in terms of, where he ranks in the game today, certainly not. And that's not a slight towards John Morant.
Right.
It's just that we are towards the end of what many have called the golden age of point guards. And I think it's just hard to put Morant up there, especially with the seasons that De'Aaron Fox has had, Damian Lillard, obviously Chris Paul, so on and so forth, the seasons that some of these point guards have had. But what stood out to me is not necessarily, I think it's very fair to debate, and obviously accurate to say he's not this year. But even more so what stood out to me was the mentality of him saying that is the positive of it, is that while he's not now, we certainly expect that he's going to be in that conversation within a few years, and hopefully will stay in that conversation for a decade or longer. And one of the biggest things that indicates that he has the ability and the mentality to do that is that he thinks he already is. That's what separates the good from the great players, is the confidence that they have in themselves. And so the fact that he's already saying that, and the fact that he can rise to that level when he needs to against the best competition. We've seen it against Milwaukee, Denver, 2 Utah games over the past 6 weeks. He can rise to the level of playing like a top 5 point guard when he really needs to. That's what stands out to me. So the fact that we've seen him flash the ability, and obviously he has the confidence and the mentality, that's what really stood out to me as exciting.
Yeah, there's no doubt we have seen him at times play like that. I mean, he looks like those guys. But certainly, as his jump shot gets better, that will be the number one key to make that more of a threat. And yeah, I mean, you hope that in 4 or 5 years, like it is a no-brainer that when you start talking about top point guards, he's one of those first 5 names you mentioned, like because you're going to see some of these older guys be leaving. But it has been, and there's a reason Mike Conley took forever to finally make an All-Star game. Like point guards, it is a brutal group of point guards right now out there.
It is. It certainly is, and that's a compliment to the game itself, right? And it's also, Ja kind of has a style that was more in tune with the NBA 10 to 15 years ago. You got the excitement of his game that's modern day, obviously, but his style of getting to the rim, getting into the lane, pass first, really being able to execute off the dribble drive, that was something that really stood out 10 to 15 years ago. Now it's a lot about the jump shot. But I agree with you in that it does take time for Ja to certainly improve. But once again, look at his April that he had. I think I tweeted out something about in April, Ja was one of only 6 players, at least through the very end of April. I don't know if he completed the month or not, but at one point in late April, he was one of only 6 players, I believe, with Luka, Nikola Jokic, Kyrie, Russell Westbrook, and I think it was Jimmy Butler. And Ja were the only 6 players with 19 or more points, 7 or more assists, and 5 or more rebounds. Ja was the only one shooting 45% or more from the field and 40% or more from 3. I bring that up to show that, yes, while he's not there as of yet consistently, he's gaining more consistency being there. Like, for instance, I think that he's now scored 30 or more points 8 times in his career. 6 of them have been since the start of March. So yes, while he certainly is not in that in that conversation now, and it does take time, Ja is showing that his game is continuing to expand, that consistent aggressiveness that he wants to play with. He's finding ways to use that to expand his game, and the results are certainly starting to show, even though you sprinkle in some disappointing games like he had the other night against the Knicks.
We would all agree that Ja needs to be really good for this team to have success, but it has to be more than just Ja, and we have seen the struggles of a lot of players here lately. I don't think it's a coincidence that since Jaren Jackson Jr. returned and Justice Winslow was healthy, and then the rotation changed and the lineups changed, that things kind of got off the rail. So here's a team that's lost 4 out of 5. How do you look at it, Sean, as far as where they were after knocking off Portland 2 times in Oregon, coming home, and since then struggling the way they have?
It's fatigue for me. And I know that may seem like a cliche answer, or it may seem, I've even seen a few people on Twitter call it an excuse, but I think it goes deeper with the Grizzlies than it does most teams. I mean, when you think about it, take Jonas out of the equation, take Kyle out of the equation, because you know where they are as veterans. When you look at the rest of our roster, Greg, there's really not been any experience of playing this late into a season without interruption in a playoff stretch. Ja's never done it. Jaren's never done it. Brandon Clark's never done it. Dylan has not done it as well. 2 years ago, he was injured. Last year, when we got to about this time of the season was suspended. So these players, you know, number one, are playing more games than anybody ever has before in this short of amount of time. But in terms of their experience themselves, they didn't do this in college. This is the first time they've all really been through this experience. I think that plays a factor in things. The other reason why I say fatigue is when you look at this Grizzlies team and what they do well, where they create their advantages is the aspects of the game where energy, effort, and hustle are essential. Points off turnovers, creating turnovers, second chance points, on the fast break. It's harder to tap into those sources now than it was in the first of the season. So I think due to lack of experience, just naturally has not been there because this roster is the youngest in the NBA, plus the fact that energy and effort are such a big part of what this team does well, where they find their advantages against better teams. I think it's just naturally harder for them to dip into the sources that they need to consistently do that, and we're seeing the results. So it's unfortunate to see, and you hope that they get back to playing disciplined basketball to overcome it. But I do think fatigue is playing a big factor in this, and with how the Grizzlies play basketball, fatigue may have a bigger impact on them than it may other teams.
Well, and I think that's a good point, too, because we knew with the second half schedule where they never had more than one day off in between games, and they're traveling on most of those. This was a brutal second half of the schedule. Like tonight, they're playing Minnesota. Minnesota hasn't played since Saturday. Like the Grizzlies haven't had a break that long, like basically all season long, other than when they had the COVID break, but certainly not in the second half of the year. So you wonder about that as far as tonight is concerned. Where do you fall, and what do you? The whole Justice Winslow backup point guard, which now it looks like, I guess, maybe over. What did you think of that, and how quickly now they have pulled the plug on that?
Well, I mentioned, through a couple of places, through some things I wrote over at Grizzly Bear Blues on the podcast as well as Twitter, I was for it. Because at the end of the day, I felt that when it came to, if you were going to choose between Justice and Tyus, I felt that the playmaking ability of Justice, plus what he offered defensively, when he's out there with his defensive ability, I felt that combination of things was going to be more beneficial than what Tyus could offer just through his playmaking, because Tyus really wasn't offering anything outside of that. He wasn't offering the scoring ability that he did last year. And our two calling cards, two of our clear strengths as a team, is defense and the bench. So if you could continue having the bench as a strength, and you could get Justice in the rotation regularly to make your defense as strong as possible, I thought that was a win-win. That's why I was for it. But I also commend Taylor Jenkins and the franchise in that they tried it. It was clear it wasn't working. It was actually taken away from Justice's ability to play defense. Plus, it was taken away from the bench to be effective. So if that's the case, if it's not working, pull the plug on it. At the end of the day, we all want to see Justice succeed. But I also think that you have to be honest with yourself and say that it's not worked out so far this year, and that at the end of the day, you do want the roster, which badly wants to make the playoffs, to have the best chance to do that. And right now, that is with Tyus at the backup point guard position than Justice. Now, if you want to work him in 10 to 15 minutes a game to play the defense and help the defense out, I'm still for that. But at the end of the day, if the decision is Tyus or Justice, you would rather your bench be as strong as possible and have the defense be above average than both of them be taken away from, because it's just not working out with Justice, and it wasn't. So I commend the creativity, but I also commend recognizing it didn't work out and going with the sensible alternative of just playing Tyus.
It's pretty amazing. As the team has got healthier, they've gotten worse, at least if you're looking at wins and losses, because the good problem has become a bad problem to a certain degree. But we're also looking for excuses. Why is this happening? What's going on here? Rob Fisher, good friend of the show, who is on and comes on weekly with Peter and Anthony in the morning and does the sidelines, of course, for the Grizzlies. He said something that I have said it before on this show, but he said it very vehemently and very demonstrative. We're a 500 team. Stop looking at things. We win 2, we lose 2. We win 1, we lose 1. We're a 500 team. That seems like a blanket explanation of why these things are happening right now, but it does bring across a pretty, I think, fair point. They have been 500 pretty much all season long. Why expect more from this team?
Well, and I think one of the big reasons why is I wrote about it over at Grizzly Bear Blues when it was going on, was because when you go back a month ago, we're coming off a month that for, I believe, 27 at least, out of the 30 days in April, this team was number 1 in the NBA in offensive rating. That's why I think it's so frustrating for folks, and I agree with Rob completely, is that the reason why it's frustrating is because we're so polarized. We play like the best team in the NBA for 27 out of the 30 days in April, but then we come back and then a week later or the 10 days after that, we're playing like a bottom 5 offensive team. Right. And that's what happened with the young team. Mm-hmm. We are a 500 team, yes, but it's a very polarizing, streaky version of a 500 team. We've played good defense all year, but our offense can sit here and play excellent and then come back and play like a bottom 5 team, top 5 for 2 weeks, bottom 5 for 2 weeks. We've done it both defensively and offensively this season. So I agree with Rob. It's the 500, aspect of the team. But the fact that it's so polarizing leads to more frustration than if we were just consistently playing league average defense and offense all the time.
All right. Sean Coleman put together on Twitter his Grizzly comparisons to Star Wars characters. Don't have a lot of time. Let's roll through a couple of these. Just give me a few words on why. Luke Skywalker.
Oh, obviously the central figure of the story, the hero, the young hero who becomes the overall most powerful being in the world that it is Grizzdom, but the ultimate reason why the future is so bright.
I love Jonas Valanciunas as Chewbacca.
Oh yeah, Jonas Valanciunas as Chewbacca, the strong physical presence, but one that obviously cares about everyone that's around him. Just the ultimate loyalty to his cause. That's what has been the best quality about Jonas in his time in Memphis.
So you went off the board to old school Tony Allen for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So a few of these I kind of forced. I think you want to kind of say Tony Allen. The reason I put him there, he's the common presence of the core 4 that's still in Memphis. Mark and Mike are still playing. Zach, obviously, with retirement, is away. Tony is the one constant presence from that grit and grind era that's still here. A few of the players have talked about how he's helped them out. So that's why I kind of put him as Obi-Wan Kenobi, being the guiding light for a lot of these players in terms of the Memphis and Grizzlies way.
And one more, Kyle Anderson, C-3PO.
Yes. The reason why I put Kyle Anderson as C-3PO, what has made Kyle so good at what he does and just a overall asset as a basketball player has been his mental and IQ approach versus having, just above average or at least athleticism. In the Star Wars, universe, C-3PO is known as just being an all knowledgeable knowledge base. that's what makes Kyle stand out, is just absolutely using his IQ well to make him an asset both offensively and defensively.
See, I thought it was just because he moves as slow as a robot.
Well, that too, but we're going to go with the former explanation.
He is Sean Coleman. He's a writer for Grizzly Bear Blues and host of the Locked On Grizz podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at StatsSAC. Always a pleasure, Sean. Thanks so much.
Y'all have a great day. Thanks for having me, guys.
Take care.
Thank you. Action 24/7 is our sponsor for this hour of the program. I was just looking at some of the special bets they've got up right now at Action 24/7. They've got a bet you can make when they're among their odds boosts for rookie quarterback to have the most passing yards next season, with Trevor Lawrence the favorite at minus 250, Zach Wilson plus 250, Justin Fields at plus 500, Trey Lance plus 1,000, and Mac Jones plus 1,500. Those are the odds on that one. That's one of the special bets. They've got some other stuff with the Wells Fargo this week. They've got an odds boost on Justin Thomas to win that at plus 1,250. These are some of the bets you can make at Action 24/7. Of course, they've got everything there. If you want to bet on the Grizzlies tonight, you can do that. Hockey, whatever it is that you're looking to bet on, they've got it for you. They are the local sports book here in the state of Tennessee, owned and operated by Tennesseans. And with your initial deposit, when you sign up with Action 24/7, they will match it up to $400. That's right, a $400 deposit can immediately become $800, as they will match it 100% up to $400. Just use the promo code WHBQ100, all capitals on the WHBQ, and they're matching that deposit 100% up to $400 at Action 24/7.
It didn't start on time, but they were able to get it in. The Redbirds home opener, season opener, and first game since early September of 2019. We'll discuss that, plus some other Major League Baseball news, some college football and college basketball nuggets as well, and a little bit from the NFL. When we return, Joe Theismann's going to join us at 11:05, Ryan Miller at 11:25. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio. We are Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Acura of Memphis invites you to experience the all-new, completely redesigned 2022 Acura MDX. It's the most advanced SUV Acura has ever built. Experience the convenience of full connectivity, including built-in Alexa, Wi-Fi hotspot, and wireless charging, from the stunning interior complete with third-row seating. Stop by our state-of-the-art facility and take advantage of our aggressive APR offers today at Ridgeway and 385. Or shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Reddick Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day. Group play and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal Housing Lender.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by Action247.com. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Cause I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, and I'm a sinner.
We welcome you back. Final segment here in hour number 1 of Sports 56 Middays on a beautiful Wednesday. Happy Cinco de Mayo to you. I don't know how I missed this tweet yesterday from Jeff Borzello, but I was looking at Steven Johnson's tweet. He does a recruiting notebook. And, of course, Steven Johnson, friend of the show from the Daily Memphian. So he tweeted out the story, and he basically talks about the Tigers missing out on Devontae Jones, but they are now in the mix, and this is according to, again, Jeff Borzello from ESPN. They're in the mix for Syracuse forward Quincy Guerrier. Not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but it's Guerrier. He's a 6'7", 220-pound Canadian who played for Syracuse last year, averaged 13.7 points, 8.4 rebounds. Of course, the Qs reached the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament, so this guy's a very talented player. Texas Tech, Oregon, Kentucky, LSU, Arkansas, Alabama, all in the mix for this young guy. So two things that come to mind right away is, good luck. Penny can win that recruiting war, but it won't be easy. But two, it's another 6'7", 6'6", 7', 8 guy that would fit into the already plethora of wings that the Memphis Tigers have.
Yeah, I mean, they look for these similar type of athletes. It's amazing to me that I feel like every transfer that is in the portal, I think every one of the 2,000, Arkansas, LSU, and Texas Tech are in on them. I don't understand. I don't know how it just feels like these rosters have to fill up. Like it's the same teams for every guy. It seems like.
Well, I can tell you, Eric Musselman is he's big in getting transfers. He's huge in getting transfers.
Yes,
the Arkansas
but you
coach.
Can't get 1,000.
I
do believe there are still roster limitations in college basketball. I don't believe you can take every person out of the portal.
Well, it must mean his percentage of hits is pretty low if he's in there in the mix for a bunch of these guys. Texas Tech, obviously, coaching change with Chris Beard moving over to Texas. Yeah, I haven't noticed LSU, but I do notice Texas Tech and Arkansas seemingly in the mix. But for Memphis, again, if you can get a talented player like that, you have 2 scholarships, fine. They still need help at point guard, in my opinion. All right, last night the Memphis Redbirds opened up the 2021 season. It rained, there was a delay, and then they finally played baseball. And I'm sure the fans that went out to AutoZone Park didn't like hanging around through a rain delay, but eventually when they played, I'm sure they enjoyed it, sat back, had their barbecue nachos and cold ones, and watched the Redbirds. They opened up with a loss, unfortunately, to the Durham Bulls, but the fact that they were back playing baseball, fantastic.
Yeah, and waiting out a rain delay after you've waited, 2 years or whatever.
Right.
What's another hour or so waiting for that? But glad they were able to get that in. And yeah, it's just it's nice to have baseball back. And now they're going to get some great weather for the next few days. So should be some good action down there.
Now, a 2-year rain delay, that would be a hell of a rain delay to have to sit out and wait. But Frank Murtaugh, our buddy from the Flyer, had tweeted out yesterday some of the different starting lineups that the Redbirds have used in recent years. And this is what I always emphasize to people, and many of you, of course, know this, is you're looking at many of the future Cardinals and some future Major League Baseball players that will play somewhere else. But that's why it's really cool. It's an inexpensive ticket. You enjoy yourself on a beautiful night this summer. And even though you may not be familiar with all the names and probably aren't familiar with a lot of the names, you will eventually, because some of these guys are going to make it. So Frank tweeted out, the opening night 2017 starting lineup, the first 4 batters in the lineup, Harrison Bader, Paul DeYoung, Tommy Pham, Luke Voigt. And he went on and put a couple of different years before that. It's just amazing that you're seeing the future. And the Cardinals, I don't know if they have the most players on their roster that played at their AAA level in their farm system, but it seems like they're way up there every year. That they come through Memphis, they go to St. Louis.
Oh, they do a great job of developing talent and bringing it up through the system and having that come up and make an impact for the greatest fans in the history of the game and history of sports.
I know it pains you to have to talk about the Cardinals and the Cardinals fans. Astros and Yankees did start that series yesterday. We were discussing it on the program yesterday. It was my one final thing that Dusty Baker was a little concerned with the Astros going into New York. The Yankee fans, as we thought they would be, they came out strong. Limited amount of people at Yankee Stadium, but there was 10,850. Yankees won the series opener 7-3. Aaron Boone, the Yankee skipper, said it felt like a playoff atmosphere. Fans brought garbage cans. I don't know how they got garbage cans in there, but they were all over the Astros. They were one of their chants, of course, was F. Altuve or Jose Altuve. So I guess the Yankees, at least for one night, got the last laugh, winning 7-3.
Yeah, their fans have been waiting for that one. It's that was a much anticipated game to get their opportunity to shout their expletives and everything else at Astros players.
Yeah, we talked about a 2-year wait to see the Redbirds again. That would be nearly a 4-year wait, 3.5-year wait for Yankees fans to get back at the Astros, and I'm sure it will continue throughout the series.
By the way, talking about the transfers and all of that stuff, and we're talking about Arkansas. Desi Sills, who transferred from Arkansas, is headed to Auburn. So that's a very nice pickup for Auburn. Clearly, we talked with Keith Carter, and he had said they were meeting about that rule with the transfers within the conference, and clearly they are going to be getting rid of that rule because that's two. And one less, now maybe Desi Sills has graduated. I don't know what his situation is, but there's another inside the SEC transfer.
Yeah, it was either Jeff Goodman or it was John Rothstein who reported. It may have been this morning, I saw this, or last night, that sometime at the end of this month, the SEC powers that be will be meeting together to talk about that. And you're absolutely right. It will be changed. We've had it. It's been changed in a number of different leagues, including the American Conference, that you can transfer within your conference and not have to sit out the year. So I think that's going to get passed.
Yeah, I mean, I think
we're seeing a lot of it in the SEC now.
Yeah, and it's only like, I mean, the NCAA is making this rule. There's no reason why conferences should have their own rules. Just go with what the NCAA's rules on it are. Makes no sense to have different rules within your conference than what the NCAA has as a rule.
I would agree. One other college basketball / NBA note: Jalen Crutcher from Memphis, who has starred at Dayton, has made it official. He is signing with an agent. He is available for the NBA draft. There were thoughts of maybe him returning and jumping into the transfer portal and all that good stuff, but Jalen Crutcher is going to not only test the waters, he's jumping in with his 2 feet first and ready to make an impact professionally and hopefully for Jalen at the NBA level. Boy, he turned into a heck of a player. Really, really good 2 years ago with Obi Toppin. This past year, really good, but he had to do a little bit too much by himself. Didn't have a lot of help at Dayton. But a nice young man and a really good basketball player. One other note here as we hear the music to end hour one. Deion Sanders, the head coach at Jackson State, said HBCU players were neglected and rejected in the NFL draft. Bold, firm, solid comment by Primetime.
There might be some other adjectives to use for that comment.
Yeah, it's a family show. But Deion hopefully will be one that makes an impact along with Eddie George and others, that the HBCU players will be looked at in a more positive tone by professional teams, whether it be the NFL or maybe even the NBA, that these players, just because they've decided to play at a historically black college or university, that they can play. And if you go back and look at the history doesn't lie about how many great players came out of those schools. I know things are different, and a lot more players have decided to go the Division I route, and understandably so. But Deion tried to make that impact and change the way those players are looked at. When we come back, Joe Theismann, former NFL MVP, Super Bowl champion, on Aaron Rodgers, on the recent draft with the quarterbacks. His thoughts when we return as we kick off hour number 2, right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The Big Hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text both to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BOTH to 42424. That's both to 42424.
Attention foodies, there's a great new place to eat in a great restored building. South Hall Cafe is now open for breakfast, brunch, and lunch in the former Tobacco Corner. Chef Jesus Ramon is creating classics from scratch with a twist. Enjoy all your favorites, including the best cheese grits in the South, a full bar, an in-house pastry chef, catering, online ordering for curbside or delivery, and a covered patio with live music on the weekends. We're open 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. weekdays and 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on weekends. South Hall Cafe, corner of Poplar and Mendenhall.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back. 11:04 the time, hour number 2 here on Sports 56 Middays. Happy Cinco de Mayo to you. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Gabe Kuhn. We're in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. The second hour of the program is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Elmo. On the web at gaddisjewelers.com. Mother's Day is Sunday. Get mom something special. I can guarantee you every mother loves jewelry. And they have great gifts for Mother's Day at James Gaddis Jewelers. All Ronaldo bracelets are buy one, get one 20% off. 50% off select diamond fashion jewelry. All emerald jewelry is 20% off. And how about this? A complimentary bottle of perfume with the purchase of any Ladies Bulova watch. So you get that Ladies Bulova watch, you pick up a beautiful bottle of perfume. And if you need a little bit more information on the Ronaldo bracelets, they're all different types. The Love You Forever, the Let's Celebrate, the Be the Light, the Leap of Faith. It's beautiful, beautiful jewelry at James Gaddis Jewelers. Tons of custom-made jewelry, lots of watches, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces. James Gaddis Jewelers has been serving Memphians and Mid-Southerners at that same location in East Memphis for over 24 years. So do something special for Mom this Mother's Day. Get her some jewelry from James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar Avenue between Mendenhall and St. Elmo. On the web at gaddisjewelers.com. When you stop by, or even if you call them at 901-767-9648, make sure you tell them you heard it here on Sports 56 Middays. Well, it's time to talk a little NFL, and it's always a pleasure to talk to the Super Bowl winning quarterback and former NFL MVP, our good friend Joe Theismann, who you can follow on Twitter at Theismann7. Joe joins us now on Sports 56 Middays. Hey, Joe.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Good, thanks.
So this Rodgers thing, this Aaron Rodgers thing, even it's interesting. So I asked you last night if you can come on the show. You said I can. And then I saw this latest with Rodgers, and it's reportedly, it's not, we're not sure if it's 100% accurate, but that Aaron Rodgers was sending text messages to teammates referring to the Packers general manager as former Bulls GM Jerry Krause, who was not loved at all by the Chicago Bulls until maybe after his passing they realized how important he was. But how ugly is this, Joe? Is Rodgers done in Green Bay, in your opinion?
It's looking more and more like it when you start attacking management as a player. Aaron's always spoke his mind, and this whole thing started, it's not this draft, it's the previous draft when they drafted Jordan Love in the first round. I think Aaron felt like it didn't help his cause, it didn't help the team. You take a number one pick at the quarterback position when you have somebody who's led you to the playoffs, someone to an MVP, and you go and use that pick for a quarterback. It didn't make sense then, and it certainly didn't make sense now for Aaron. And he's upset. I thought that they might be able to work something out, but there's a lot of bad blood that's starting to flow inside the organization. Matt LaFleur is caught in the middle of a firestorm.
Right.
I mean, this would be another year that Matt and Aaron would have a chance to work together. There's always a transition when new coaches come in and players have to learn new systems. Well, Aaron's just getting comfortable with what Matt's doing. They've added some quality players. And, this is potentially a 13-4 team that all of a sudden looks like an 8-9 team without Aaron Rodgers.
What do you think with where he is now? And Denver's out there as a possibility. The Raiders certainly a possibility. There's a lot of other teams certainly that would love to have Aaron Rodgers. If Rodgers were to go to a Denver or an Oakland, does he immediately make them a Super Bowl contender?
No, guys. You and I've heard. I've said this time and time again. The quarterback is the single most dependent player on the field. The defense is still going to have to stop somebody. Kickers are still going to have to make kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron's what, 37, I think? Is that right? I believe.
Up there, right around
37 game for Aaron? Yes.
Yeah, so he's 37 years old. So if he would have to go somewhere where a team felt like they were a quarterback away from competing for a championship. We saw it with the Rams regarding Matthew Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't feel like Jared Goff could get them where they needed to go. They gave up a whole bunch to get Matthew Stafford. What do you think you have to give up? You're mortgaging the future. You're mortgaging the next 3 years probably of your early round picks for a quarterback who's 37 years old. So what's the lifespan of Aaron Rodgers? If you trade for him and you give up, definitely going to have to be two number ones. It'll have to be a number 1 in 22, a number 1 in 23, and goodness knows what else. Players, maybe more draft choices.
Mm-hmm.
All you do is look at the Matthew Stafford deal and say, if they're willing to go that number for him, what are they willing to do for Aaron Rodgers? And here's the other thing. You start to look at salaries. You've got, from what I understand, Aaron's contract is not guaranteed in 22 and 23, but it is this year. But Kirk Cousins, just as an example, for 2021, his guaranteed contract is $31 million. His number in 22 is $45 million. Dak Prescott, coming off of a broken ankle, badly broke, just signed a $40 million contract. What do you think Aaron Rodgers is worth? 50?
I mean, if you're going to give up all of that for him,
If you can guarantee me a Super Bowl, yes, but you can't.
But you can't. There are no guarantees. So it's, as a team, you have to say, okay, it's not like I'm going to grab a 30-year-old quarterback. Now, Aaron keeps himself in shape. The way he throws the football, he could be the second coming of Tom Brady.
I was just going to bring that up to you. I was just going to say that.
He could go to 42, 43.
Right.
So you could be looking at 5 years. But you're sure going to mortgage a lot of your franchise if you're a team that's trying to build going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, the teams are very limited in what the selection might be. Now, somebody might be willing to make a deal. I mean, obviously, if he doesn't like what the general manager did in Green Bay, but if somebody makes the deal for him and gives up the house, he's going to love that guy. Let's face it, But like I said, this whole thing has been festering for him. I think he played with a chip on his shoulder last year. Now that chip has become a boulder, and he's pissed.
Mm-hmm. No question about it. I don't know the guy from Adam, but just from everything I've read, seems like this guy could be one of those rarities that really does hold out or does announce a retirement, goes and hosts Jeopardy, and then comes out of it and plays for another team. Something really weird can happen. He just seems like that guy that has that fortitude that if you piss him off, he's going to show you.
Which they already have.
Yep.
No, I tend to agree with you on that. I really do. I think Aaron is not going to be bullied into a decision. Economically, he doesn't need it. Let's face it. He's done extremely well. So the economics, you'd like to make another 90, 100 million. Okay, no harm in that. But he's not going to, unless there's changes, you're not going to get a change in the general manager. Remember this: The Green Bay Packers are not owned by an individual.
Right.
The Green Bay Packers are community owned. I own a share of the Green Bay Packers. So I'm a shareholder, and I think they ought to treat my quarterback better.
So, okay, Joe, because I want to, so along that line, so like if they wanted to, if Aaron said, I'm not there if you don't fire the GM, to fire the GM, how is that decision made?
Can't do it. You can't have a player making that decision on management. Yeah, I mean, I think they made a mistake doing what they did a year ago. And it's interesting.
No, Joe, I think he means whether
from the ownership's perspective, if they want to fire a GM, how do they do that in Green Bay?
Since it's not one owner.
Well, you have to promote someone from within to the new position and relieve that person of their duties.
But is there a vote of all the people? Like who makes
do you
the
get a
decision?
vote, Joe?
No, it would not. No, it would not be a vote. I don't believe it would be. I can't say conclusively, but I would think that it would be the people that are in charge of the organization, the president of the organization.
Okay.
They have the authority to make those decisions.
Okay.
Everybody out there that owns a share of the Green Bay Packers is a shareholder. Okay. It's just, it's to me, it's one of the greatest traditional franchises in the history of football. And Mark Murphy, who was the president, still holds a position in the organization. A few years, well, more than a few, maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago, they were going to upgrade the stadium and they were selling more shares. And I said to Mark, is it possible to get one? So he said, yeah. So I just felt like, I love football. I love the history of football. And I felt like it was an opportunity to grab a piece of history.
Right.
So I did. But, you have people in the organization that would make those kind of decisions. And we see more and more players voicing their opinions of wanting to have more to say, which is a little bit crazy for me because while you're playing football, the general manager, the scouts, everybody in the organization is out looking for, or if you're the president of an organization, you're looking for a general manager or you're looking for a vice president of player operation. You're playing football. You don't have time to go through all these searches and sit down with and interview people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit dangerous when players start saying they want this and they want that. I will tell you this though, I had a great conversation with one of the really terrific general managers in the National Football League, and I asked him specifically if he sat down with players when the season was over to get their input, and he said absolutely. He would sit down with 4, 5, 6 of the players and find out, their opinions and what they need. Players know what a football team is lacking. You may not agree with X's and O's. You may not agree with some of the plays that are called, but as a player, you know what your football team needs. And to get their input, not that it's going to happen, but to allow them to feel like they're contributing more than just on the field, I think is very important. Mm-hmm. In this day and age, when I played, nobody asked me anything. Hey, Joe, turn left. Yes, sir.
Who was it? Was it Jack Kent Cook? Was that the owner when you were?
Jack Kent Cook owned the football team.
Could you imagine you going up there and saying, "Hey, Jack, I need this or I need that"? That would never happen.
Yeah, well, it's like the old days. In other words, I think I'm trying to think of who it was went in and demanded something from Vince Lombardi, and he said, "I'm sorry, I can't make that decision." And he said, "Why?" He said, "Well, you're not on our football team anymore. I traded you to such and such." So,
exactly.
Don't ask them for money. I mean, it was they didn't think twice about it.
That's really interesting. It was a little bit of fear, but now there's no fear.
No, there's no fear. Well, see, when I played, there wasn't free agency either. You didn't. If you didn't make the football team, you couldn't get hurt because if the guy came in and replaced you, and he played well. We saw it with Colin Kaepernick in San Francisco. Alex got hurt. Colin got the chance to play. All of a sudden, bang, he's the quarterback. So with Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady in New England.
Right.
How many times have we seen the other guy get in and all of a sudden the team goes on a 4 or 5 game win streak? Now the coach is in a situation. This whole thing about if you get hurt, you don't lose your job, that's a myth. that does not apply, especially in this day and age.
So, Joe, what your thoughts on the quarterbacks in this draft and the decision by the 49ers to go with Trey Lance? Justin Fields falls down. The Bears able to get him. What do you think of this group?
I think it's a replenishment to a degree of some of the teams. For example, Jacksonville and the Jets well, their guys should start going into the season. They're going to build the franchise going forward, I believe.
With Lawrence,
with Lawrence and Zach Wilson. I think in the case of San Francisco, if you drafted Matt Jones, you really have him and Jimmy Garoppolo. They're not that different when it comes to the quarterbacks. Trey Lance is very different than Jimmy Garoppolo. And you give him a chance to be able to play. I think Jimmy will be their quarterback this year. And if he plays well, he'll be his quarterback for, who knows how many years.
Right.
Or maybe they decide to deal him and they like what they see in the young guys, just like we saw down with Tua in Miami and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan was playing good football. Now we have him in Washington, but they wanted to get Tua on the field. I think, Justin Fields in Chicago, once again, I think they're going to expect him to contribute in a different way to that football team. So I like the group of kids. Ian Book went into the Saints in the 4th round. I mean, when you stop and think about football, where was Tom Brady drafted? 6th?
Yeah.
I was a 4th-round pick. Joe Montana was a 3rd-round pick. You never know when that opportunity is going to present itself to be able to play, and you have to be ready. But I think there are a number of young guys coming into this game to a position where we really need players. There are not enough quarterbacks to go around for teams to be able to win with. So everybody's sort of looking, and Urban's going to start fresh down there in Jacksonville. And, of course, the Jets are going to start fresh with Zach in New York. I think Jimmy's still going to be the quarterback. I always felt Atlanta was sort of like going to be the linchpin here. I figured the first 3 were going to be quarterbacks, but who was going to try and go up and get a Justin Fields or a Mac Jones? But Atlanta made the right choice in getting Pitts at tight end, in which everybody sort of conceded was the best athlete in the draft, best player in the draft.
Well, we're in agreement. I agree with everything you said there. And for the Patriots, they didn't have to move up. They got Mac Jones. So I think everybody was happy with the quarterbacks, and I think your assessment's right on. Now,
it's interesting. I call this a relationship draft. You look at Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. He got his wide receiver and running back from LSU. Tua got his wide receiver from Alabama. Bill and Nick Saban are very, very close, and he winds up getting his quarterback. If anybody knows, Coach Belichick's going to know Mac Jones better than Mac Jones knows Mac Jones. I mean, so that's why to me this was a draft where guys went places where they were familiar with other individuals.
Even the Eagles, when Hurts was in Alabama, he was teammates with Devontae Smith. So
and Jacksonville got Travis Etienne to go with Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. Like it was just it was all college teammates being reunited.
Exactly. It's a relationship draft.
Yeah, I think you're right on with that. All right, final thing for you. Your best guess as to what happens in Houston, what happens to Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I can't. I would be remiss and misguided to try and guess what's going on. Mm-hmm. There's an investigation regarding his situation. He expressed discontent after signing a 5-year contract for over $100 million. He wasn't happy. I don't understand that, but I have no idea. I think so much depends on what the NFL is able to uncover in their investigation and what takes place going forward with the other things that are happening legally in his life. So to say he'd be there or not be there, that script hasn't been written yet. That certainly would be total speculation, and it wouldn't be someplace I would go.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's 2 major issues. Obviously, there's the legal issue with the masseuses, but there's also the issue before that even came out, that even came to light, and that was that he didn't want to play in Houston anymore. So you have that going as well. It is really a strange situation, but also obviously now with Deshaun Watson, if these allegations are false, you certainly hope that everything is cleared and this guy can go on, this young man, with his career. And if obviously he's found guilty, it's probably going to rock his career. So a lot of things still happening and need to be decided down in Houston. He is Joe Theismann, Super Bowl winning quarterback and former NFL MVP, good friend of our show. We always appreciate having the insight of Joe Theismann on the program. You can follow him on Twitter at Theismann7. Hit him straight, Joe. We'll talk to you down the road.
Yeah, and also remember, you can always get my book called "How to Be a Champion Every Day."
That's right.
Available through Amazon and bookstores, and you can order it online. And there's also an audio book. So if you're driving around and you're looking for some laughs, I tell some fun stories in there. But it's really a book about business. It's a book about life. It's a book about a little bit what goes on in the world of football.
I love your voice, but you should have Morgan Freeman do it.
He's not too far from us in Memphis.
Exactly.
Right.
Thank you,
You're
Joe.
right.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, a great place for lunch or for dinner. It is lunchtime. If you're driving around listening to the show right now and thinking, what do I want for lunch? Corky's, yeah. Greg's talking about Corky's. Let me head over to Corky's, a Memphis staple for over 30 years. Voted the #1 barbecue place in Memphis 22 out of those 30 years. Delectable barbecue. They fired up in their Corky's hickory and charcoal pits, their pork shoulder, their ribs, their chicken, their beef. They have tremendous sides, and, of course, the world-famous onion loaf. 4 convenient locations in the Mid-South, locations at Poplar Avenue in East Memphis, Poplar Avenue in Collierville, Germantown Parkway in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. You can dine in, carry out. Corky's can cater an event, so ask them about that. Shop online, have Corky's deliver their delicious barbecue anywhere in the United States. You'll be the hit of the family when all of a sudden a family member living outside the area opens up a box of delicious barbecue from Corky's. They're going to love you. A Corky's gift card makes a great, great gift. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. When we come back, Ryan Miller, assistant basketball coach at Creighton University, will join us. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 98.5.
Same great shows.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays.
What's up? It's Sports 56 Happy Hour.
A new spot on the FM dial. Check out Sports 56 on our new FM home at 98.5.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies, we will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
Hey, if you're hungry for great Mexican food for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, got it. La Guadalupana, La Guadalupana, Guadalupana. Choose from tacos, burritos, enchiladas, sizzling shrimp, beef or chicken fajitas, and even a Cuban sandwich filled with Mexican sausage, chicken, ham, steak, jalapenos, avocado. Add a nice cold beer to your super nachos. Top with melted cheese, beans, sour cream, guacamole, tomato, and jalapenos. Great prices, generous portions, great service at 3 locations, Summer Avenue, Cordova Road in Winchester, La Guadalupana. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps, fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Safety toes, shoes, and great quality hiking boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. Halfway home on this Wednesday edition of Sports 56 Middays. Happy Cinco de Mayo to you. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Gabe Kuhn. We're in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. The hits just keep on coming on today's edition of Sports 56 Middays with some great guests, and that continues now with our good friend Ryan Miller, who's changing addresses, going from a TCU to Creighton, the new assistant basketball coach for the Blue Jays. And you can follow Ryan on Twitter at Coach Ryan Miller. He joins us now on Sports 56 Middays. Hey, Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Greg, Eli, for having me on.
Oh, thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. So it is not certainly uncommon in college basketball, college sports in general. You see a lot of movement around the country with coaches going from program to program. You were at TCU for quite some time and now at Creighton. Why the move? Give us the little background on the decision to go and coach with the Creighton Blue Jays.
Yeah, the decision was made on multiple fronts. Number one, to continue to grow in the profession and continue to get into a league like the Big East, that's a great basketball league, to coach with a staff that's led by Coach McDermott, who's an innovator, offensive innovator of the game. Really, a lot of coaches say it. They preach it that they're going to play pro-style basketball, but he really does with his offense. He really utilizes the three-point shot and the analytics in the game, either a rim to the rim or a three-point shot, and the space, having 5 interchangeable parts out there, and is really an innovator in the game, and especially offensive basketball. So I'm excited to be a part of that. Another thing, coach my nephew, Mason Miller, Mike's son. So it was a big time opportunity when they had staff changes. And, I was at TCU, and Mason already signed and committed here a long time ago, and he wanted to be a Creighton Blue Jay, because kind of the reasons I said with the offensive game plan that Coach McDermott puts together, a game in and game out. But Mason came here, so to be able to coach family, be a part of the next generation of our family in basketball, so that's very exciting. And then my mom and dad live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota still, and brothers and sisters, which is about 3 hours down the road. So it gave me an opportunity to get closer to home and have them be, have these games be a family event, really. Mom and dad being here, brothers and sisters, and Mason playing. So it's just an exciting opportunity for me personally, our family, and looking forward to this opportunity.
So have you told Mike that you don't want his calls complaining about like playing time and stuff?
I told him all the time. I said, "You call me." I said, "I will hang up the phone on you. I am not listening to you. We don't listen to parents here. We make our own decisions about playing time, shot selection. We're not going to listen to your advice."
Sometimes you just got to set the record straight with them. And you mentioned you talked about the style of play and the analytics and this the new thing now is this. Yes, it's either a 3-pointer or to the rim. How do you go about kind of instilling that? I mean, it just seems weird anymore that the 15-foot jumper is looked at as a bad shot. I mean, so how do you go about just teaching it and instilling this, like that these are your two options, either shoot the three or go to the rim?
Well, number one, it's just coaching or recruiting the right personnel for it. Okay, they've done a phenomenal job here recruiting the right personnel for it. They don't want to turn down shots where there's 6 seconds in the shot clock to get a shot later in the shot clock. So if it might be a kick ahead 3, he has no problem, for his guys to take it, because number one, they recruited that way here, and number two, they work on all that stuff. So transition 3, stuff like that. I wouldn't say there's no place for the mid-range shot. I just think if you look at the numbers and look at the math to it, okay, the lowest percentage shot is the mid-range shot by the numbers. A lot of people look at points per possession, PPP, and the mid-range pull-up, dribble pull-up is like the least percentage shot. That and the back-to-basket post-up, which, the game was kind of played with mid-range and back-to-basket back in the day a little bit, are lower percentage shots. Not saying shots they're different for each player, really, but those are lower percentage shots. Statistically and on a points per possession basis. So you look at that, and I would say there's no room for it. There is room for it. I'd say it's a 12-second or less shot, the mid-range shot is. And that's kind of what we do. If we got a quick early three, if it's open, if it's not a selfish shot, we take it, or we try to get to the rim. We always say, we love layups and dunks. We like threes, and that's kind of the model here. And if there's a mid-range pull-up with 10 seconds left to go in the shot clock, for a guy that can make it, that's not a bad shot either.
No. And it's ironic that you talk about the game today and the three-point shot, and your brother was making so many three-point shots before it was even fashionable as to now trying not to shoot the mid-range jumper as much and shoot the three, step back, shoot the three, all that stuff. He was doing that or taking it to the rim and finishing. So, it's understandable that the Millers all believe in that kind of that same motto, that same mantra.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
It paid Mike a lot of money. But I will say this. When it's phenomenal to look at. When Mike first came into the league, he would shoot like 3 threes a game, and he wasn't the only one. Like Steve Nash would shoot 2-3 threes a game, and these guys are shooting 40% from three. Today, these guys are shooting 32%, 34% from three, and they're shooting 12, 13 a game. It's a whole different ball game. It's amazing.
It is.
It's crazy.
It seems like he was in ancient times, and it wasn't that long ago when Mike was still playing. We're joined by Ryan Miller, assistant basketball coach at Creighton. You can follow him on Twitter at Coach Ryan Miller. You are one of the most dogged recruiters out there. What was it like this past year plus with the virus, with coronavirus, affecting the way you were able to try to recruit players?
Yeah, I mean, it was challenging, to say the least. A lot of Zoom calls, a lot of phone calls. Got very efficient with working Zoom and working the computer to have meetings, which is kind of hard, especially I'm a relationship guy. I like to get my feet on the ground someplace, whether it's go out recruit Memphis, wherever it is, go back home and recruit Dallas, Fort Worth. I like to get my feet on the ground, get to talk to people, sit face-to-face with guys, and talk to them and build those personal relationships and personal bonds where they can be trusting relationships. So some of that's very challenging. You have to rely a lot on your prior relationships, I will say. Guys, now with the transfer portal, too, people you previously recruited that came open in the transfer portal are relationships you coaches, high school coaches, families, whatnot, that have influence on kids making decisions. So you have to kind of rely on that kind of stuff. And it was a challenging year, whether it was recruiting or whether it was on the court.
With the transfer portal, how do you kind of go about sorting through all of the names that are in there, and how's that handled by a staff of recruiting the portal?
You know what? They have great services out there these days, and a lot of the services do analytic deep dives on each player, so you can kind of figure out through some analytic formulas that they have out there, some of these companies that are out there, that what players are kind of would fit your style of play. Number one, are players that are able to make the jump from a lower or mid-major college to a high-major level. So a lot of that is done analytically, and then obviously the eye test too through website services like Synergy, where you can watch every one of their college games. There's so much content on guys these days. It's a lot easier, and that's one thing I will say that made it easier going through the COVID deal this year, is that we weren't out recruiting high school kids, but there's still a ton of content on college kids that were transferring. So it's easy to, and this 21 class kind of got hosed a little bit, to be honest with you, because we weren't able to go see them, so we weren't able to evaluate. Not all of it's the eye test. You want to go into practices and see, how they approach each day with practice, and see if they have a tenacity in practice and they're a good teammate and they're a good kid, character of the kid. So you didn't get to see all that this year. So some of that is challenging, and it really hosed the 21 class a little bit. So it made it really tricky to recruit those guys. So the transfer portal, with the NCAA changing the format where kids can transfer and be eligible right away, really changed the game a little bit and allowed us to maybe not looking at a 21 recruit that you're not for sure on to go a transfer where there's content and there's there's evaluation done that they scored 15 points versus Creighton while they're playing for Northern Iowa or something like that. So you can see all that stuff, and so in that way it made it a little bit easier, and it makes it easier to sift through some of that stuff.
Some people, including myself, have equated it to the college version of free agency. I mean, you look around at rosters, and they're just completely changing. In fact, some rosters are maybe even more than half of their players are different from what they were able to get out of the transfer portal and what they lost to the transfer portal. So is this good for basketball, good for college basketball?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think that's kind of wait and see what happens, really. It's going to be harder for fans to obviously, watch a kid build up. I'll give you a great example. Well, we'll just talk about a kid that we coached at TCU, that I recruited and coached at TCU that's now playing for the Grizzlies, Desmond Bain. That kid came into us, as a development player, 10 to 15 or 10 to 20 minutes his freshman year. Next year he's a sophomore, starts most of the year. As a good role player, junior year really takes off. Honorable mention Big 12. Then his senior year he decides to come back, and he's first team all Big 12 and leads us in scoring. Those type of kids are going to be hard, and it's going to be hard for the fans to see a kid develop like that, because what's going to happen quite a bit is, their roles early on, the kids might not like it and might think the grass is greener. Not saying Desmond would have done that, but there's a lot of kids that are going to not be for the development system. They're still going to get to their juniors and seniors years, but it might be through, from a mid-major from New Mexico, and then they have great success there for 2 years, and they come to a Power 5 program. It's going to be just different ways to do it, and it's going to be interesting times. I mean, if the coaches and the staffs that can figure their ways around it are going to be the most successful. I mean, it's going to be challenging because it is a new age, a new era in college athletics, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. I don't know if it's good or bad. I kind of just wait and see what happens, I guess.
You mentioned Desmond Bain, who certainly has been very good for the Grizzlies in this rookie year. It's interesting because he's shooting the ball a lot better when he comes off the bench than when he is in the starting lineup this season. But what have you thought from what you've seen out of him so far with the Grizzlies?
I mean, it doesn't surprise me a little. Honestly, he does something really well that most teams want, especially when you want to talk about an analytical player. He kills the analytics because that's what his game is. His game is 2s and 3s. And to be able to play next to guys like John Morant and JJ and those and Dylan Brooks and these guys are really good. He really excels being that secondary guy. I mean, I'm excited for him. I'm not surprised at all. He's an extremely hard worker. One of the hardest working kids I've ever coached. Developed himself into a fantastic player, and obviously you're seeing with the Grizzlies. I think he's going to have an unbelievable career going forward and help the Grizzlies win a lot of games. I think the coming off the bench and starting, I think that's just a level of comfortability. You get comfortable with the guys you kind of play with and kind of go with, and I think that second unit that he's been more comfortable with just because he's played more minutes with them. So they kind of got some chemistry going together a little bit when he comes off the bench.
What was when he was coming out? Why didn't he go earlier? Because you talk about he's a guy that kills it for analytics, so teams should look at that. Now, granted, anymore if you're not a freshman or 19 years old, they say you're old. But what were the things that caused him to slip the way he did?
I think a couple of those things you said. He's an older kid, so what happens in the NBA draft, in my opinion, and from my experiences, is the kids that go 1 through 15 or the lottery a lot of them are potential kids because the NBA GMs and stuff can't miss this 6'9" kid that has arms down has a 7'3" wingspan, and has just unlimited potential. They can't let those guys slip really because, for every Kevin Durant, there's someone that probably doesn't make it, but they can't let that next Kevin Durant go or the next, kid that has an amazing potential. There's, you might hit one of those, but that one is a generational player, right? So that's what happens. A lot of potential, young, youthful potential gets drafted early at the lottery level. So then the older kids kind of get pushed back out of the lottery a little bit, in my opinion, there. And then some of his physical attributes. I mean, people are scary because he has shorter arms a little bit, stuff like that. So, which I knew would hinder him, because he plays very tough. He's a very smart, cerebral player. so he understands his limitations and understands what he can do and what he can't do. So I think the NBA teams, obviously, if they had to redo the draft today, he'd probably be top 13, top 10. You know.
Speaking of long arms, and I may be wrong about this, but Mason is a chip off the old block. Looks like Mike. Is tall, has long arms, shoots the three. You mentioned him earlier, and obviously one of the reasons why he had signed with Creighton, and you can go there and coach your nephew. How good do you think Mason can be?
I mean, his potential is unlimited. I mean, he's got to he's going to have to just he already is in love with the process. He's just going to have to grind. He's going to have to get tougher. You know, both mentally and physically, which will make him. You know, he's obviously had with his dad's success, been able to see that success firsthand, and we know what it takes to succeed at a high level. A lot of his development's going to be physically. I mean, he's 6'8", 6'9", $180, long, athletic, but has unlimited potential. Can really do whatever he wants. It all depends how tough he's going to get, how bad he wants it, and we're going to put him in a phenomenal position to be successful. And we're going to push him every day. Some of the things he was kind of born with a little silver spoon in his mouth with his dad's success. So we're gonna have to make him a little tougher, make him feel hunger again. You know.
Right.
So you obviously coaching in the Big 12 last year, you got to see Baylor up close. I think you guys may only put them once, maybe had the other one canceled. But how good was that Baylor team?
Oh man, it was my scout. So it's been my scout the last 5 years, Baylor, and this was a phenomenal team. This is one of their best teams. We actually beat the team last year, which was the same team, and Desmond Bain was unbelievable. If you ever get a chance to watch that game, and Desmond Bain, you just watch that game, you should have been a top 15 pick. He was unbelievable. He kicked Baylor's butt, and they were like number 2 in the country. He probably would have had a good chance to win the national championship if there was a tournament last year. Okay, so this next year, obviously, they all come back. And I remember watching scouting them this year and watching about 4 or 5 games before our lead up in our game, which got canceled because of COVID, or the first one did, or whatever it was. But I was like telling our GAs how phenomenal they were. I told them that day, and it was early in the Big 12 season. I said, "Man, this team is the best team I've scouted. I've been coaching college basketball 15 years. It's the best team I've scouted in 15 years." Yeah, so I at that time, and then they went through the COVID pause, so no one thought they could get it back when they ended up getting it back, but. They are phenomenal. They have 2 guards that are NBA first-round picks. They have bigs that just know their role and they're tenacious. They're as good as a team that I've seen doing this for a long, long time. And obviously that was put on display in the NCAA tournament.
Well, Ryan, listen, it's great to have you back on the program, and hopefully get to do it again. I want to congratulate you on your new job at Creighton. I know you're going to kill it. Really appreciate it. Make sure to follow Ryan on Twitter at Coach Ryan Miller. I know you're just getting settled in there in Omaha. So good luck with everything. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Well, Greg, Neil, I appreciate you guys, and thank you for everything.
Thanks, Ryan. Take care. Ryan Miller, assistant coach at Creighton.
Baylor was so good they scared him out of the Big 12. He said, "I got to get out of here. This team, screw this. This team. If this is what we're dealing with here, I got to go. I want to go somewhere else."
Best team he scouted in 15 years. Wow.
Well, I mean,
that says a lot.
As he said, they showed it in the NCAA tournament.
It's like, Ryan, why didn't you call me and tell me so I could have bet them instead of betting Gonzaga?
I certainly don't doubt him. That is for sure. Hewlett and Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. They've got it all. It's right there with the name, of course, with the boots and clothing. And they've got whatever kind of boot it is, whether you're looking for cowboy boots, work boots, hiking boots, from casual to fancy, safety-toed tennis shoes. They've got those as well. Every size, every color, every skin of boot there is. You'll find it when you walk in the door at Hewlett and Dunn. You just see boots for days, it seems like. Clothing as well. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from. Good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, Kimes Ranch jeans as well. Old South T-shirts and caps. Man, oh man, do they have it all for you at Hewlett and Dunn out in Collierville at 111 North Center Street. They've been doing it since 1961. They also have Nebo lights and Orco hard coolers as well. So there's a little bit of everything beyond the boots and clothing at Hewlett and Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Again, 111 North Center Street in Collierville. Go by, check them out. Again, Hewlett and Dunn Boot and Clothing Company.
Could Seahawks wide receiver and former Ole Miss Rebel DK Metcalf run in the Olympics? That story when we return. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5.
Start your day the right way with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane on Sports 56 Mornings. Weekdays from 7 to 10 on Sports 56, 98.5 FM and 96.1 FM.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
AC trouble? Call Air Doctors of Memphis, 901-598-HVAC. Owner Matt Davis is a third-generation full-service air conditioning specialist. Air Doctors of Memphis services all major brands, and labor and parts are guaranteed 100%. Their yearly AC checkup is only $60. Then this year, Air Doctors is the official HVAC contractor for St. Jude Dream House. Air Doctors installed the St. Jude Dream House new Train high-efficiency equipment. Get your service from the best. AirDoctorsOfMemphis.com. Call 901-598-HVAC.
Mid-South Hobbies has your favorite model airplanes, boats, race cars, and trains to build. With brands you know like Lionel, LGB, and a large selection of Traxxas radio-controlled trucks, cars, and boats. Mid-South Hobbies has all the accessories to make them complete, with thousands of paint colors to make them shine. Reach the sky with rockets and kites, or reach deep into your imagination with action figures, comic book superheroes, and fantasy quest games. Get passionate about your hobby at Mid-South Hobbies. 4862 Summer Avenue, open 7 days a week. Call 901-682-9402.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
In case you missed this earlier, we mentioned that the First Bank text line, which has been revamped over the last few days, but it hasn't been operable yet, will probably be ready to go tomorrow. We're hoping. We got our fingers crossed. So we have moved our 5 favorite things, which we usually do on Wednesday, to tomorrow. So if you're wondering why we haven't done that yet or what's happening today with the show and 5 favorite things, we're going to do that tomorrow. Again, it's your 5 favorite board games. Your 5 favorite board games. Again, just for this week, we will do it on Thursday. So get those lists together. Get them ready for tomorrow. Seahawks wide receiver, former Ole Miss Rebel, DK Metcalf, is going to run in the 100-meter dash at the USA Track and Field event this Sunday. And it's a long shot, but it's not out of the question that he could make the Olympic team and participate in Tokyo this summer.
Yeah, if he runs a certain time, he gets into the Olympic trials. I don't remember exactly what the time is and all that. But I'm interested to see, a guy like that run against actual, sprinters and guys who obviously train for this all the time and everything else. I'm interested to see how he fares.
Yeah, he's blazingly fast in pads, in a uniform. You got to believe he's amazingly fast without him on. But you're right. Now you're comparing him to sprinters, not just football players, although we have seen the football players in the past throughout history. The likes of the Bullet, Bob the Bullet Hayes. Ronaldo Nehemiah was a track and field star who played in the National Football League with the 49ers. There have been others. Not a ton of them, but there have been others. Willie Gault, the former Chicago Bear, is one that comes to mind. So certainly he's going to give it a shot, and DK Metcalf will make that first step, hopefully a positive step, this weekend. The Action Network has put out odds to be the Week 1 starting quarterback. Now, Trevor Lawrence is a given with Jacksonville and Zach Wilson with the Jets, unless there's any unforeseen hiccup. But the three other first-round draft picks, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance, that's interesting. We had Joe Theismann on talking about the situation in San Francisco. He believes it'll be Garoppolo. And all right, so here are the odds they have put out, the Action Network. For the Patriots, Cam Newton is a minus 400. Mac Jones is a plus 500, and Jarrett Stidham's a plus 600. That's got to be Mac. That's got to be Cam Newton, unless he got hurt, knock on wood, in camp, right? It's got to be Cam Newton to start the season at least, right?
I think Cam will start the season, not finish the season.
I think very similarly on that. Cam Newton in one more year of experience in that offense, I think they'll go with him to start the year, but then Mac Jones could come along pretty quickly.
Cam Newton will not finish the season, Eli, because of an injury or because it'll be time for Mac Jones?
I think they'll go to Mac Jones.
Okay. The Bears, Andy Dalton is a minus 167. Justin Fields is a plus 160. Nick Foles is a plus 900.
I think Justin Fields starts game 1.
Game 1. Wow. So it's plus 160. It's not tremendous odds, but Gabe?
I'm going to lean to Andy Dalton starting game 1, and then very soon thereafter, Justin Fields getting the call.
Now, I'm with you. I still think it'll be Dalton and they'll ease Fields in, but I don't think it's out of the question what Eli said. And then the 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo is a minus 305. Trey Lance is a plus 250. Josh Rosen, remember him, the chosen Rosen? Plus 2,500. Nate Sudfeld, plus 3,300. Well, one of those quarterbacks, and it's not going to be Garoppolo or Lance, is not going to remain with that team. You're not going to have 4 quarterbacks, but that's the odds on that one. Garoppolo is absolute, right?
Yeah, I don't see any way he's not starting game 1, unless he's hurt. But
yeah, game 1. I wonder during the year, because Jimmy G is sort of oft injured too, so I wonder how many games Trey Lance will end up starting when it's all said and done.
If Garoppolo stays healthy, Trey Lance, I don't even know if he'll see the field.
If he stays, if.
And that's
massive
a big
if.
That's a big if. So Trey Lance, the opportunity to start game 1, no. I don't see that at all. Mac Jones, no. And I'm going to say no to Fields, but I can see where you're coming from on that one, Eli. Always a possibility there. All right, coming up in hour number 3, there's some scuttlebutt about Boise State and the American Conference, and we will discuss that. We'll get back into the Grizzlies as they are back on the hardwood tonight. Must-win game in Minnesota against the T-Wolves. And then at 12:25, Jay Hasselman will join us for our 3-man scramble. We'll give you a chance to win a $20 gift card to Edwin Watts. That's our weekly prize. And then be in the drawing for the grand prize, which will be a $100 gift card from Edwin Watts and all types of golf from around the area. That's going to be big time. We'll make our picks for the Wells Fargo the Wells Fargo Championship with a star-studded field. Also, we'll discuss this Premier Golf League. It's reemerged. Remember we talked about that maybe a year, 2 years ago? It has reared its head. Some think it's an ugly head. We will discuss that as well. Hour 3 on the way. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5.
Memphis, it's official. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp and chicken pasta. Now available is the salmon and fried lobster pasta, snow crabs, king crab, dungeons, and more. Don't forget about the calamari, shrimp, and lobster. The portion, the price, the taste. Only at Crab King. Visit us at CrabKingTN.com. Crab King Seafood and Pasta. East Memphis location now open till midnight for carry-out. Memphis favorites.
Gotta finish this today.
Cristiano's construction projects typically run smoothly, but this project's pipeline is about to burst.
Yo, boss, where you want us to put this? To the left. Your other left. John.
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The summer of fun is here now at Mario's Pools. Hi, everybody. This is Dave Woloshin from Mario's Pools on Exeter Road. That beautiful pool, well, it just doesn't happen. So call Mario, and his team will be right there to guide you every step of the way if you want to do it yourself, or they'll do it for you. If you need a replacement pool liner, Mario has the best price against all the major competitors, and by the way, the best selection. Call Mario's Pools, easy, 552-3399. That's 552-3399, or just walk in, so easy, in Germantown on Exeter Road. The great thing about Mario is he always takes that extra step. He gets to know you and your pool. He'll do everything he can to make it perfect. Mario's has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. You can check out the reviews on Facebook. Don't be a slave to your pool. Call Mario Pools today, 552-3399.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Follow me, don't follow me. I've got my spine, I've got my orange crow.
Welcome back, everybody. 12:01 the time. Final hour for us today here on Sports 56 Middays. Happy Cinco de Mayo to you. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Gabe Kuhn. We're in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. If you missed any of our terrific interviews from earlier in the show with Sean Coleman talking Grizzlies, Ryan Miller, assistant coach with Creighton, and Joe Theismann, the former Super Bowl winning champion, NFL MVP. You can always check out those interviews by heading to our website, sports56whbq.com. Go to the Middays podcast and have a listen. We also put some of these interviews up in featured audio, which is another section there on our website that you can check out. Not only for our show, of course, for all the shows, all day long, all day strong, as John Harden would say.
So there's this, I guess you call it a report. I don't know who this guy is. Greg Flugauer on Twitter, but he claims to have this source who he refers to as BTM, who he says has broken some other stories and things around the world of college football. He very, talks about him as a very, very good source who knows a lot of people.
Okay.
And according to this source, he says Boise State is on the AAC's doorstep. Expect at least one partner in San Diego State to make the move together, and up to 2 more additional schools could be added. And the heavy push is to get this done between now and the start of July.
That's an awful lot to ask in that short time period, if this is accurate. For the 2021 year?
Well, I don't know that it necessarily would be for the 2021 year.
Okay. Then why is there the rush to get it done by July?
I don't know. I mean, they might need to get it done by July to have it done for the 2022 year. I mean, I don't.
All right, so I'm going to try to look this guy up here. Give me the spelling of his name.
It's Flugaur, I think.
Okay. I've never seen a tweet from him. I've never heard of the guy. I've heard rumblings about the American adding Boise State.
Well, that's been around for quite a while.
And needing a travel partner. I've heard that stuff. What advantage?
I assume this is only football. I don't know. I don't know if there's any other sports included. If there's football only, I can't imagine it's all sports. I just don't see why Boise State or San Diego State's like Olympic sports teams would want to take on that travel situation.
Okay, I understand that, but what is the advantage of Boise State and San Diego State and possibly 2 others playing in the American Conference? I know the American is looked at as a better football conference than the Mountain West, but not by much. This isn't going into the Power 5. This isn't making a move into the SEC or the Big Ten. So let's weigh the pros and cons. What is the big advantage to go to the American Conference that you would want to commit just your football? Assuming it's just your football. Obviously, you're right about the Olympic sports, if you will, non-revenue, whatever you want to call them. That would be suicidal, the expenses with that. But maybe basketball, too. Basketball, if you added a couple of those schools to your conference, it makes the American more appealing on a national level. I don't know how much it helps a Boise or a San Diego State.
Well, it's the hope for any of these would be that if you take a couple of the best schools out of the Mountain West and you put them into the best group of 5 conference, that group of 5 conference now is strong enough to basically become the P6 that Mike Oreska likes to refer to. But you can refer to yourself as P6 all you want. To become a P6, it's can you then get an automatic bid to one of the New Year's Six bowl games? Can you get a deal done with the Orange Bowl or whatever bowl it is? and you now you are P6 because that's what makes you a power conference. You got to have these deals with the bowl games that in the major bowl games that get your teams in there. If the playoff expands, which everybody seems to believe it's going to be doing here in the near future, that conference, if you improve your conference even more, absolutely guarantee that your conference champion is in that playoff, not if we're the highest ranked of the other, whatever. It's our conference champion has a direct path every year. We are in the playoff, no questions asked. I mean, that's what it is. For all of these, it's about direct paths towards the playoffs and major bowl games and everything else. And if you can improve yourself into one major conference, you hope that you can get that respect.
With all due respect, this guy looks like a schlemiel. I don't know. I don't know what to think. And you already said it. You talked about this guy. He's hardly got any followers, and he throws this out, but he says he's got a reliable source. I mean, anybody can do that and try to build up their Twitter followers and things of that nature. But maybe, once in a while you'll see something that looks just stupid out there or, in some cases, too good to be true, and it ends up being right. I doubt this very much until I get a reputable source tweeting out something about this, but your point is well taken. What it could mean for the American, but you're right, until they are recognized, and I don't know if they even want to recognize another conference to push it to a P6, but I still think it's, you would go to an American conference, you would improve the American conference, would the American conference now be looked at as, yes, they're going to be a power conference now, a power 6. It's too much to ask for to be able to make that financial commitment of being a school that's going to play in that conference, and your travel is going to be a lot. I mean, they still travel to Mountain West. You still got to play Hawaii. Not always, but there's still a lot of geographical miles there between Boise and some of the other places. San Diego, for goodness sakes, is a long flight and a lot of travel. But I don't know, Eli. It's just, I don't know. Obviously, Navy's in there, football only. So it's not unprecedented for the American Conference to bring in schools that play football only. I would think it would be a pretty cool thing for them if this was serious to play basketball as well. That would help those schools. San Diego State always seem to have a solid basketball program.
And the thing,
Boise's getting better.
Again, I don't know if there's any other sports. To me, it doesn't matter. It's all about football. The question would also, if he, according to this, and again, I don't know what there is to this, but he said, the possibility of other schools. If you could get Boise and San Diego State, if that would be enough, could you convince BYU to do it? And then I don't know who else would be the kind of the next one out there that you would want to try and include. Because if you're BYU, if the playoff expands, BYU's got to that. To me, that would make BYU have to start thinking about getting in a conference again, because as an independent, they're not getting in the playoff.
They're not Notre Dame.
There's no way they're ever going to put together a good. I mean, they'd have to go. I mean, maybe if they went undefeated and played a strong, but it's going to be extremely difficult for them to have a path to the playoff, even in an expanded version. But if suddenly another conference or other conferences are getting automatic bids, they absolutely have to start looking at getting into a conference. And if you can add a couple of teams out west with them, and all of a sudden now you got 4 teams out there plus some Texas schools where you could kind of create a little east-west situation as far as divisions go, then maybe that would be enough that you could get BYU. And if you could get Boise State, BYU, and San Diego State, and then one other or whatever, then 100% that conference would be getting an automatic bid into an expanded playoff.
Well, a couple things. You're pretty much squashing the Mountain West Conference as we know it.
Exactly.
If you lose these schools.
Which is what you want to do.
Now, the other schools, they would be in peril. But nobody's worried about them if you're talking about creating what would be a vastly improved conference. And I say improved because BYU, as you said, whether you like them or not, BYU is a known commodity. That BYU football program, I'm not saying this is, Alabama, but BYU is a known commodity. Boise State has already taken that program to that level where everybody knows Boise State football. You add Boise State, you add BYU, you've strengthened your conference. There's no question about it. San Diego State, I think solid athletics all around, solid basketball, solid football. I don't know about the perception, though, from the other Power Fives when they look at the American Conference. But for Michael Resco, and if there's any hint of truth to this, which, again, right now I doubt, but I could be wrong. I don't know that dude from Adam. But Oresco's been singing that P6 thing. It's kind of fallen on deaf ears. The TV contracts aren't what he wants it to be. So why not do something unorthodox, outside the box? Try to strengthen your product and at least more money from a television stand. You add Boise State and BYU, you're more attractive from football. Let's be honest.
Well, no, exactly. I mean, you can shout all you want about your being a P6. That means nothing. Like, there's nothing about saying anything. Being a P6 is getting the TV contracts, getting the bowl contracts. These other conferences didn't become power conferences because they said they were.
Right.
They have the deals. Like they have the deals in place that makes them the power conferences. So you need to make your conference worthy of these bowl games and other things. And then if you do that, you become a P6. And if, again, this wouldn't surprise me at all that there is rush to do this with the idea, the conversation is out there about the playoff expanding, because as a conference, if the playoff expands and you don't know what it's going to, you absolutely have to make sure that your conference is getting an automatic bid to that playoff. You have to do everything you can to ensure your conference champion, not this group of conferences, all this, our conference champion every single year is playing in that playoff. And and it would make sense for these schools and for these two conferences almost to say, listen, are we good enough by ourselves, or if we can pick off a couple of the better schools over there, does that make us strong enough to make it where we can absolutely, they can't refuse us anymore?
You have to separate yourself from the Mountain West, from the MAC, from the Sun Belt, from whoever, not in theory, in reality.
Yeah, and again, if you add those teams, there's no way the playoff could not give you an automatic bid. If you have that, the American right now, and you were to add Boise, San Diego State, especially if you get BYU, there's no way that the playoff could say your conference champion isn't getting an automatic bid. You're way too good of a conference, and you're way better than the other. If they're expanding to 8 or 12, they're going to be giving at least a 6th automatic bid. Your conference is clearly the one that should be getting that.
Well, I think so, but it doesn't mean that they're automatically going to add them. I mean, they just. It's the haves and the have-nots. Are you now a member? Are you now a member of the have team if you add that type of stuff? I completely believe that there will be an expanded playoff. I don't think that talk in this case was cheap. Now it's still 20. What the contract right now that they're under runs through 25?
I believe that's right.
So I don't think we're going to have it before then. I don't believe. I hope we do. I've been an advocate of it. But I believe we are going to get an expansion. There's no question in my mind, whether it's 8, whether it's 12, whatever the case may be. So you're right. You need to be in that position. So it wouldn't surprise me that Michael Resco is thinking outside the box. But I don't get the rush to July on this story from this guy. Not even a story, like you said, just kind of tweeted it out there. I don't know. Nobody knows who his source is. But and he has really nobody knows who this guy is. I mean, who's sending it out. Now, whether or not his source is really somebody who has some pop and some power, then maybe there's some accuracy to it. But I would doubt this very, very much. But then again, what brings me back to it is Oresco. And Oresco is going to think outside the box to do whatever he can. He is on that P6 mission. He is absolutely on it. And you're right, just saying it doesn't mean anything. It's not reality. But if you improve that much, first of all, your television deal, do you know when the American deal is? Didn't they just sign another deal?
Yeah.
Like last year, right? How long does that go for? Can it be revamped if all of a sudden you're bringing in, whether it's 22 or
if you have conference changes, you're going to be able to redo the deal.
Yeah, there's no way, though, that you can get something done for this year. Even though we just went through a COVID year where teams were putting together games 3 days beforehand. But I don't think that that's reality, even if there's some truth to this. But 2022 certainly is capable of happening. But Boise would be a great addition, and BYU, which again is not mentioned here, and they're an independent currently, so not even part of the Mountain West, that would be a great addition as well.
And if you're Boise State, you could be looking at this saying, listen, like the American has surpassed our conference. Their champion is getting that spot every year, basically, in the New Year Six. So us winning our conference isn't even enough anymore. We need help from the American champion not to be that good. So why don't we get into that again? Why don't we get into that conference and give ourselves more of a direct path? Conference champion from the American is in all likelihood going to be getting in. Let's just go compete for that championship rather than trying to compete against that champion with no chance to play against them.
Exactly. Now, just for the sake of this discussion, if there was something like this to happen, and there was 4, and they were able to get BYU, Boise State, San Diego State, who's the other Mountain West school? Who would you want?
I don't. It doesn't really matter, honestly.
Well, I'm just asking your opinion.
I would say Colorado State, possibly somebody like that would probably be your most likely, but I don't know that it would matter. I mean, I don't know that. I don't know if you could do Air Force, if Navy and Air Force, if that would be something maybe even Navy wants or doesn't want or anything like that. I don't know, but I would think Air Force or Colorado State would be your most likely options.
Okay.
And then again, you throw in, you can kind of create a Western division with the Texas teams and all those teams out there, and then you got your Eastern division, and you could do something with that, and it kind of makes a little more sense. And even travel-wise, if you group kind of the Texas schools with those teams out west, and you're only playing a game or two outside of your division, the travel isn't nearly as bad if you could get 4 teams to come in.
Not that long ago, the talk was teams leaving the American to go to the Big 12 when we had that expansion talk, which never happened. Now it's, well, maybe it'll happen one day. It's not happening now. How can we better ourselves? Let's bring in teams. Again, in theory, from this report, not even a report, just a tweet from this guy. So, again, we're taking it to another level here, but it's a good discussion.
And from the American, again, if you think that there is going to be more expansion amongst the Power 5 schools, you need to position yourself now to do the best you can to get these teams, and so that even if you end up, say they take a couple of teams away from you, you're still going to be just fine because you've positioned yourself with 14 teams or whatever, and even if they take a couple of those from you, you still feel good about where you are.
Yeah, I see the Americans' point of view with this. I absolutely. Not so much the other schools, but I think you made a good point. With Boise State, let's say they do expand the playoff to 8, and they say 7 from the Power 5, and then we'll have 1 from another conference, and it was going to be between all the – well, look at what's going on with the American. It's going to be the American. The American gets the automatic. And then Boise State's still on the Mountain West going, well, what the hell? What about us? So now they're in position if that were the case. But, again, there's a lot of moving pieces and moving parts going on here because why wouldn't the Mountain West turn around and try to – maybe pluck teams from the American? If you know right now that there was something going on, you would try to come back
because
and go with them.
The Americans in much more of a position of power right now because they've become the dominant conference.
They have. But you're not ready to.
And I guarantee you, I don't know what the Mountain West TV deal is, but I guarantee the Americans is better than theirs.
No, I think so too. I'm just saying, if you're the commissioner of the Mountain West right now, and if these were legitimate rumblings going on, you got to do anything you can to save your conference. So what would you do? I guess the only thing you could do is counter and try to bring in schools to your conference. I don't think that would work, and I don't think teams would leave. I don't think you're going to get like Central Florida going to the Mountain West. But I'm just saying it's at the expense of the Mountain West, it's the improvement for the American Conference, but it could mean the end of the Mountain West because all you would have left, they'd probably pluck some other schools out there, and it would be a shell of what it was. And Mountain West, pretty solid conference.
That's what happens in conference realignment. Right. The strong take from the weaker. No question. This is how the whole thing worked the first time, and it will work again. So
no question.
If the American is the stronger conference, they get to do the gathering, and the other ones fund for themselves afterwards.
I hope there's some truth to it because it would be a real interesting situation, and plus the discussion that we would have, pretty much daily on this and how it affects the conference and the future of the playoff, how it would expand, how the American could be included as an automatic representative in the playoff. If it went to 8 or went to 12, you would certainly think they would be. All the dynamics, how it would affect Memphis. I hope there's some truth to it, but I would say right now, I would doubt it very, very much. I don't know. It's hard for me to get excited about something that's tweeted out by a guy with 2,000 followers that is not from a reputable publication or network or anything like that. But stranger things have happened. So we'll obviously keep you up to date with that. Interesting. All right, when we return, it is time for our 3-man scramble. So that means we need 3 of you to call in at 360-8255. 360-8255. Pick Jay or pick Eli or pick me, whatever you want. What's our picking order, by the way?
The picking order is Jay, then you, then me this week.
And again, if you've already won, not if you've participated and lost, but if you've won already a gift card, you're already entered, so you're not eligible to be a part of it. But if you have not won, even if you were one of the people who called in last week, got in, picked one of us, and did not win, you're still eligible. So jump on the phone lines right now at 360-8255. 3-man scramble coming up. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 98.5.
Grab a seat for a happy hour with John Harden.
Passengers will please fasten their seatbelts.
On Sports 56 Happy Hour. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Do you have to add Freon to your air conditioner every summer? Good news, it's super tune-up time at Conway Services. We'll come out and perform our exclusive 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your air conditioning system for only $69 with a Freon leak check. That's right, Conway Services exclusive 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up for only $69 with a Freon leak check. We'll remove years of dirt, grime, and leaves from your air conditioning system. It's like taking your air conditioner to a car wash, all for only $69. If you have an air conditioner that leaks Freon every year, with Conway Services Super Tune-Up, we'll include a free leak check. If that's not enough, we'll treat your unit with a special Teflon coating to help protect against the hot Memphis sun. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. And call this week and we'll perform your super tune-up for only $57.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that PIN, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time. As simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend, Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Everyone's watching to see what you do. Everyone's looking at you.
Welcome back, everyone. 12:28 the time. Final 30 minutes and change here on this Wednesday edition of Middays. Happy Cinco de Mayo to you. Jay Hasselman joins us here in just a moment for our 3-man scramble. We're in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Gabe, do we need any more callers?
One more.
One more caller at 360-8255. First Bank phone line, 360-8255 to jump in on the 3-man scramble.
Who's remaining?
Who's left?
You, Eli.
That's accurate. I will admit they got the picks right this week then.
But you might be due.
I
thought they were due.
I could be due. That is correct.
The Dew Factor. Jay Hasselman joining us from Edwin Watts. Yeah, maybe that'll help you out. Hello, Jay.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
Doing fantastic. Week number 5 for us here on the 3-man scramble. Jay Hasselman, of course, joins us from Edwin Watts. And last week it was Sam Burns winning the Valspar. Who won last week?
Greg, you won last week.
Oh, cool.
That made Greg a winner. Greg had Greg, so congratulations to Greg.
I didn't think we were eligible to pick ourselves.
Hey, you can always pick yourself, Jay. I don't care what you do. Greg, a winner, $599,000 last week. Jay had $210,000. I had $201,000. So congratulations to Greg. You get the $20 gift card to Edwin Watts, and you'll be entered into our drawing at the end of the year for a $100 gift certificate to Edwin Watts and some other free golf as well. For the season now, Jay is at $2.4 million, Greg at $2.2, I'm at $1.5. Greg has 2 wins, Jay has 2 wins. I have been shut out in the win column.
Man, I'm going to tell you what, that's you're not doing very well. You're not good, Danny.
It's early, though.
Good.
I mean, I'm only $900,000 behind the lead. It just
Right.
I haven't won any weeks.
And we'll eventually have the big majors coming up still. You get the PGA coming up later this month, if I'm not mistaken. But this week, it's the Wells Fargo Championship. But last week, Sam Burns winning. So there's another one of those young guys who had been on the precipice of winning. And he talked about it afterwards that he's been in this situation before and kind of swooned in the 4th final round on a Sunday when he had the lead. Here, he had the lead. He comes in there. He holds off everybody else, and he wins. So once again, Jay, they're just these young studs are lining up. The future is the present. The present is the future. There's so many good young players on this tour.
You just said a lot there. I'm not even sure I know how to respond. Present is the future, and the past is in the future too. Is that what it was?
No, just saying that we don't have to worry about the future with these young guys because they are the present. They are winning right now.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see these kids come out. Sam Burns has been out there for a little while, but there's so many young, good players. It's weird. It's kind of transit. There's no more Jim Furyk, no more Phil Mickelson. He hasn't played well in a while. Ernie. All the people that have been the superstars for the past 10 or 15 years are kind of stepping aside, and you've got this whole new crop of good young, and they're mostly American players.
Yeah,
so it should go well for the Ryder Cup. Who knows? I heard somebody talking about the Ryder Cup the other day, and they always talk about, we need to pick some experience. I'm like, if your experiences get kicked in the face every year, why would you want that? Pick somebody that has no memory of that, you know?
Sam Burns, by the way, 24. So he's been out there a little bit, but again, still a young guy winning on the tour.
Yeah, it's just been a matter of time for him. It would just be like a bonehead thing here or there, but like you said, he's 24. Good for him.
Instead, this time it was the guy he was competing against with the bonehead on the hitting the ball in the water on the par 3 by Keegan Bradley.
Yeah, the line is so fine out there, man. You just cannot make mistakes, especially on Sunday. It just, you're not going to be able to rebound unless you make it on the first hole.
I swear, I don't know if he's gotten worse or better, but I would not be able to play with Keegan Bradley. Like his little things,
all the shuffling and all that.
They would drive me insane watching him. Like he walks up to the ball, puts the club down, walks back, spins the club around like 15 different times. It makes me nervous watching him.
Yeah, it always feels like he's indecisive, and I don't think he is. And I don't know what it is. I don't like Keegan. I don't know if it's like the Air Jordan shoes that look like he's wearing hoop shoes. I can't figure it out. I don't like Keegan Bradley. I'm not a fan.
All these guys,
I won't ever pick him. I'm not going to pick him.
It's the ticks. I would be fine if he didn't do all of that stuff that just makes me. I'm like, because every Saturday and Sunday, I think both days, that group got put on the clock like they were because I'm like, well, with him doing all that stuff, he can't play fast. He goes first of all, him and his caddy talk about every shot forever, and then he goes through this darn routine. Like it's hard for him to play fast.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on.
Well,
but you know what? He's had a really good career. You think about it, he's had a really nice career. So. Let's, I guess, give him some due.
Well, everybody has a routine, right? Everybody's going to have their routine, but you're right. You said the word ticks. It's like it's more than just being superstitious or this. You have your routine, but when your routine takes that long, it's monotonous. Maybe it's good for them. It's not good for your playing partners. It's not good for being put on the clock as much as he is. So, everybody has their...
and you look at Sergio. Sergio went through a stretch, where he couldn't pull it, where he kept squeezing the club. But he changed it, and that's the thing. It's almost like Keegan Bradley doesn't even want to make the effort to try to change.
Who's the fastest player out there, or maybe one of the fastest?
Maybe Dustin Johnson, except for on the greens. But tee to green, Dustin, they talk about Dustin Johnson will sometimes hit it while his playing partner's ball is in the air. He's ready to go.
Brant Snedeker is extremely fast.
Snedeker's very fast.
Brant Snedeker everywhere. Like, man, that dude, like, he doesn't waste any time. Like, it is, I'm ready, I'm hitting.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about DJ on the green. He'll take his time with his brother, and his brother will look at the putt. And he does drop the anchor. But you're right. Yeah, he's because I don't know. Schauffele is with his caddy, his buddy, and they talk forever. I just think it's like gotten worse over the years.
Well, and you wonder. All these guys. You think about it. These guys, when you grow up, you don't grow up. Most people don't grow up as slow players. It's almost like if they would take away the books and stuff and just let them look at the sprinkler, or heck, just hand them a rangefinder and say, here's what you got, and let's go.
Right.
Because it trickles down. You go out to the public course here and you see a guy looking at a 4-footer from 3 sides of the hole, and then he's going to miss it anyway, so it didn't even matter. Yeah, it's a bad look sometimes. I'm torn, though. I like to hear the interaction between the players and the caddies, but I almost wish CBS would cut away and just, come back when he gets ready to hit it.
I'm with you. I do like listening to the interaction. There was some good stuff with Keegan Bradley and his caddy. I thought it was interesting, like hearing them. But I'm interested to see with that, with the PGA, with the ability to use rangefinders, like. First of all, will everybody do it? And when they do, will it speed up play?
Happen.
How much will it speed up play? Or are they going to shoot the flag, but then still have a 20-minute conversation about where they exactly want to try and land the ball?
Yeah, and that's what it's going to boil down to. Is they're going to get there, they're going to shoot the yardage flag, and then they're going to go, well, you got 147 to the hole, but you've got 138 to cover the bunker, and the back slope is 156, and it'll just be a whole. It'll add one more step to the process, is my guess.
Yeah, it's bad enough on the tour watching the guys, but they're going to make a great shot more than likely. The worst is when you're out there playing, and you're just playing on a Sunday at a city course, and the dude thinks he's Tiger Woods. I mean, just hit the damn ball. My motto is, look, if you're going to be bad, be fast. The worst are the bad golfers who are slow.
I've got a great T-shirt I bought on one of my ventures at a really cool place, and on the back it says, "Play well, play fast, play poorly, play faster."
Yes,
and that's the mantra. That's like their club mantra. I mean, they tell you when you tee off, here's how fast we expect you to get around here, and don't make us come get on to you.
Well, to me, it's the whole that's why when you're out there playing, I don't need to see some guy putting for a 12.
Right.
Triple bogey, pick it up. Done. Move along. It doesn't matter.
You should play with me, because if I'm putting for more than bogey, I'm probably not hitting it anymore. I'm ready. And it's not like I'm in a hurry to do it, to be anywhere. I just, I'm aware of other people and how what I'm doing is affecting them too. And I think sometimes we get into our own little bubble and forget that there's other people out here. And,
well, and the thing is, what's it? Well, first of all, even for handicap, it's only double or
double max or maybe triple.
Well, it's triple depending on your handicap. It's double plus handicap, basically, is the official rule they go by. But there's only a few holes on the course or whatever that you can actually take a triple. But even if you're an 18 handicap, that means you could take a triple max at every hole by handicap standards. So, what are you putting for the 10 for? If it's some bet within your group that matters, well, then you got a problem to begin with. So, just pick the damn ball up and move to the next tee box and let's get this all.
Sure, people say,
you've hit three in a row in the water. You don't need to try and hit the fourth one over the water, Tin Cup. Just move along.
Well, I can hear people, some of my buddies, the same way. I want to see what I shot. No, you really don't. The difference between 90 and 94, it doesn't matter. It just, let's. But anyway, they paid their money. I guess they got a right to do what they want to do.
One other topic before we make our picks. The Premier Golf League is back in the news. It was in the news maybe a year or two ago. We talked about it, I think, during one of our old four-man scramble events. But now we have the Premier Golf League reemerging. And so basically what it is a new league that they're trying to form that's going to pay wants to pay the top golfers, a lot of money. Saudi Arabia money is involved, so they go deep-pocketed there. And so what they want to try to do is have a breakaway where you're committed to this and you have to break away from the PGA and the European Tour or whatever tour you're on, and they want to start it in September of 2022. So today, as the golfers get ready to play the Wells Fargo, they were asked by media, and Rory McIlroy, who panned it before, panned it again. Justin Thomas panned it again. He said, I'm going nowhere. We have it great right here. Phil Mickelson was a little bit more, maybe, but again, Phil's senior now. He's over 50.
I was going to say, Phil might be looking for that last, cash grab, and
right.
Hard to blame him. He, like you said, he's kind of in the twilight of his career, and at what point is the money? Phil's probably made. I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but I bet he's between golf and endorsements. He's probably made $500 million.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
I would think so. And
the PGA Tour, kind of in response, came out with that bonus pool they're going to do for the social media and things like that. And there's really nobody really knows the formula. So it sounds like it's just a chance to give the top players a little extra bonus money, trying to persuade them not to go to this other league. But I think we're foolish if we don't think at some point a competitor's going to come along and pluck away a few of these guys. it'll be curious to see. The flip side of that is though too. All these guys make so much money.
Right.
The top percent of players. I mean, they just makes. If you're making. Let's just use. If you're making $15 million a year to $17 million a year, does it really change your life?
No, but that's what I'm saying. If you can't get Justin Thomas and McElroy and all that, are you gonna still have a league if it's Keegan Bradley?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If it's Harold Varner III, and not that these guys aren't great players, but they're not gonna move the needle. And plus these guys want to play against the best. Why would you want to go over here and play? I mean, unless you get everybody to go, if you get all of the top 25 in the world to go, I could see that. But I'll be curious to see. But, I mean, like you said, there's a lot of money behind it. I mean, and, the other thing is, too, you hear all these people talking about do the right thing. Do you really want to align yourself with Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
A place that has, I mean, Justin Thomas gets buried for making a homophobic slur. Can you imagine? I mean, I don't know how in Saudi Arabia. I don't know how their stance is, but I can't imagine it's too good on women's rights or gay rights or any of that.
Plus, not only the political part of it, but you're turning your back on. You would be turning your back on the PGA Tour, which helped make you, or the European Tour, whatever the case may be.
Right. Yeah. I'll be curious. It's going to happen at some point. It's just going to be curious to see how it unfolds.
Okay.
In December of 2017, so
that's when
3.5 years ago, Forbes estimated Phil Mickelson's career earnings at $815 million.
Man, you know what? He could give us each 5 and get by on the
exactly.
other 800. We would all be in great shape.
His estimated worth right now is $400 million. So I think he could spare a dollar.
He hit the Powerball by being really good at golf. I mean, that's what happened.
Good for him.
A lot of these guys.
Absolutely.
Well, a lot of these guys hit the Powerball. One, by being good at golf, and two, being in the era of Tiger Woods.
No question.
If you just happen to be the right age where you came with Tiger Woods in that age group, and you were good at golf and were out there on the tour on a regular basis, you hit the Powerball.
If you have a little kid, boy or girl, and you're not teaching them when they're young or having pros teach them the game of golf, you're missing out. Not saying there's a guarantee that they become Tiger Woods, but why not?
Somebody has to.
Why not? Why not go out there and teach them the game with the experts that can do that, the game of golf. That's why I keep telling my son with my grandchildren, put sticks in their hand, let them learn, they're playing soccer. What are you going to do with soccer?
Well, your son loves it. I know that.
I know.
He's probably going to get, I'm sure your grandkids are going to get involved in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. All right, time to make some picks, Eli.
All right, Jay, you lead things off this week.
First? Oh, man. Well, who's the best player in the field? I got to go best available, John Rahm.
I would agree with that pick.
That would have been my pick.
He hadn't played has he played since the Masters? He played in that team event in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. And of course, they recently had his wife
gave birth.
Child? Yeah. So he's I think it's a great pick. Rahm's so I don't know now after that because I don't know where to go here. DeChambeau hasn't played in a while. I think I'm going to I have a feeling he's going to play well this week. I'm going to take Rory McIlroy.
He's played well here a lot of times.
Yeah, so he's won twice. So.
Has he really?
Yeah.
He's won twice? I didn't even know that. I'm going to go with Rory.
Well, I will take Justin Thomas.
Well, if he starts putting it good, he's hitting it really good right now. I mean, he finished first in all the stroke gain, degree stuff, but he finished middle. It's amazing. So if he gets the putter worked out, you're going to pass us all.
He's got good memories there with winning his major.
Yeah, that's right. He won the PGA there.
Yep. Boy, the second pick is a tough one here.
This is a good field.
It's a really good field.
What the heck? Everybody loves him this week. He's the darling right now, and he does fit. His game fits this course well. I'll take Will Zalatoris.
Wow, going early with Zalatoris. All right, comes back to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Gosh, I'm going to take Webb Simpson.
Seems like he would play good there. He plays good almost everywhere. All right, I'm going to go.
I believe he's a member, isn't he?
I think so.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. So I'm going to go Victor Hovland.
Yeah, he helped me last week to the win.
Yeah. he just seems like he's never, he's just going to make money. I mean,
His ball strike. I mean, he's just so consistent striking the ball. Like it's just
as long as he doesn't miss a lot of greens because he's a terrible chipper. And I'm going to take defending champion Max Homa.
Okay. So back to me. No.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You're about to figure out how this works, Greg.
Eventually.
I'm so used to the four-man scramble.
One of these years, Greg is going to actually figure out how the snake draft works. It might be year 50, but eventually he will figure it out.
I'm going to leave your friend Patrick Reed for you, Eli. I'm going to leave him
Patrick
on the
Reed
board.
is officially dead to me now after last week.
Schauffele always lets me down. I don't know if I have the cojones to pull the trigger on a guy you had already mentioned earlier, Gabe. That name being Harold Varner III.
HB3. I think HB3 is
I'm thinking of taking him, but man, I don't know with DeChambeau.
Tony Finau's still there, and Tony Finau is a guaranteed top 10.
Yeah. Is this a
I hope Eli has already placed that bet on.
Is this a course? Is this a course, Jay, where DeChambeau can cut distance?
It's a really long course. It's a very long course. I mean, this is a big hitter's golf course.
I'm going to take DeChambeau.
That can either be really good or really bad. I don't see much middle ground with him anymore. I think
you're
he's
right.
either going to play really good or really bad.
You're absolutely right.
All right. Boy, now that leaves me between two guys.
Well, who are you between? We'll try to sell you on one of them.
Bubba or Patrick Reed?
Finau or Schauffele. I'm torn between those two guys.
Come on, now Watson or Patrick
Reed? How do you
Reed?
Pick Finau? Finau is like a known quantity. Always.
But Schauffele is going to win soon.
No, he's not.
Yeah, but it's not going to be this week.
He falters every time.
He's got some skeletons, man. That shot at the Masters has got to be,
And how he what he said about it was like.
He said he hit a good shot.
I know.
I was like, you missed the shot you hit a shot like I would hit.
You missed the shot, and number two, you shouldn't have been going there. You should. I don't care how your ball flies.
You play 15 feet right of that hole, and it feeds down.
Exactly.
And that's how everybody that hit it close hit it that way.
I'm going to take Finau. I'm gonna go Finau.
That's the wise choice. I mean, I don't really like your Zalatoris. You could have got him later in the action, but that's okay.
I will. So I've got Thomas, Zalatoris, Finau, Jay with Rahm, Hovland, Homa, Greg with Rory, Simpson, and DeChambeau.
All right, Jay, tell everybody about Edwin Watts. What's happening over there?
Man, busy. Spring is in the air. I will tell you this, next Thursday, we're going to have the guys from TaylorMade in the store doing some fittings on their new Sim 2 product.
Nice.
They'll be here, I think, from 10 to 4 is the time. I haven't really looked closely. I know they're starting at 10. I don't know exactly when the end date is, but so if you want to come by next Thursday and try out the new stuff, and maybe we'll do a fitting, see what you need as far as shaft and stuff. We'll have one of the TaylorMade fitters in the store doing that, and just come by and see us. We've still got some product. I'm going to tell you, I've been looking at inventory is getting hard to get. So like things like gloves and replenishables, if you need some, you better stock up, because I'm going to tell you by June some of that stuff is going to be a little harder to get, I'm afraid. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm hearing a lot of bad from the vendors. So keep that in mind, Eli and Greg. You'll need golf balls and gloves. You better come by and get some.
I'm waiting for my golf balls to come in.
Oh, that's right. We've got you some. Well, they're going to cancel those, so you need to come by some more.
Well, thanks for the advice, Jay. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. Jay Hasselman from Edwin Watts.
Fleet Feet, the place to go to get all your running gear. You want to make sure you get shoes just right for you. Go see the folks at Fleet Feet. They've got 2 locations. One, not far from Edwin Watts, right, very close to the old Edwin Watts location, but not as close to the new one, but still over there on Poplar, on the Laurelwood Shopping Center next to Panera Bread Company. They also have the Collierville location, which is at Poplar and Houston Levy, next door to Huey's. Go to either location. They'll take a look at the way you run or walk, fit you with shoes that are just right for you, plus any other stuff that you need, from shorts and shirts and hats and socks and everything else. They've got that for you at Fleet Feet. Go see them again, either one of the 2 locations of Fleet Feet.
All right, our final segment is next. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 98.5.
Let Dave Voloshin and Brett Nordsworthy take you home with Sports Time on Sports 56. Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Memphis, it's official. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp and chicken pasta. Now available is the salmon and fried lobster pasta, snow crabs, king crab, dungeons, and more. Don't forget about the calamari, shrimp, and lobster. The portion, the price, the taste. Only at Crab King. Visit us at CrabKingTN.com. Crab King Seafood and Pasta. East Memphis location now open till midnight for carry-out. Memphis favorites.
Looking for some action on your favorite games? Action247.com is at your service. Action 24/7 free-to-play games are brought to you by Tennesseans for Tennesseans. Come play with us online at Action247.com. Our free-to-play games are fun and easy. Go to Action247.com and click Let's Play. And best of all, you can win cash prizes. That's right, cash prizes. Free to play online at Action247.com. You got action.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
First Bank is here to help you, whether you're a business looking for a loan to expand or refinance an existing one, a homeowner looking for a mortgage or home equity line, a consumer wanting to finance your dream car, or wanting a competitive rate on your CD deposits. Let First Bank try to handle your banking needs. Stop into one of First Bank's 3 local branches today, 6482 Poplar Avenue just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or check them out online at firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Cold wet December day, we touched the ground in JFK. Snow was melting on the ground. Yes, I heard the sound of an angel.
I love this tweet from Jalen Green. I know for a fact if I went to college, it would have been a different talk about who going number 1. It's good, though. I love the G League. It prepared me ahead of a college move. I ain't going to stop working. What?
Well, he can think that, but he wasn't going ahead of Cade Cunningham no matter where he played.
He's not going to go ahead of Cade Cunningham. First of all, he's made money. It was his decision. He could have went to college. But this is a good referendum for going to college, isn't it? Out of sight, out of mind, I think hurts a little bit, but Cade Cunningham was really, really good. And we got to watch him, so maybe it had something to do with the exposure. But Jalen Green, I think what this does is tells some kids that maybe that's not the way to go into the G League, or at least the this Ignite team.
Time now for one final thing.
Before Greg and Eli get out of here for the day, they each have one final thing they think you should know to make it through the rest of your day. So here are Greg and Eli with one final thing.
Wow, this is a heartwarming story from what could have been tragedy to now perseverance. Drew Robinson, who lost his right eye in a suicide attempt last year, made the opening day roster for the San Francisco Giants AAA affiliate, the Sacramento River Cats, and could play as soon as tomorrow. They opened their series with a 6-game series in his hometown of Las Vegas. He signed a minor league deal with the Giants over the winter 6 months after he shot himself in the head. My gosh, what a comeback.
That is was it Real Sports? Was it Real Sports or ESPN? One of the story on him.
It must have been ESPN because I watch Real Sports. I don't remember seeing that.
Man, it's amazing. I mean, he shouldn't even be alive. And the fact that he was he's making this comeback in baseball is just amazing stuff. Speaking of amazing stuff in the game of baseball, I got to give a shout out to my Cubs yesterday. Sweeping a doubleheader from the Dodgers, facing Clayton Kershaw and Trevor Bauer. If they beat Walker Buehler tonight and sweep the Dodgers of this 3-game series facing those 3 pitchers, this will be the most improbable series sweep in the history of baseball, I believe.
Especially with all your criticism of the Cubs about no offense. They've had enough.
Well, yesterday was the pitching that was, I mean, Kyle Hendricks actually pitched a good game for the first time this year. And then in the nightcap, they had to rally after blowing the lead in the bottom of the 7th. But man, oh man, I thought for sure yesterday was 2 losses. The Kershaw, they didn't even get out of the last 1 inning. It was the shortest regular season start of his career.
There are some interesting baseball races. I know it's so early. Here we are on May 5th. But the San Francisco Giants, the way they're playing with the Dodgers and the Padres in the NL West, the NL East is crazy. The AL East is crazy. There's a lot of interesting races early on in the season, and only one team's out of it, the Tigers.
The Dodgers are now 4-11 since they were. I think they started 13-3,
Mm-hmm.
so they're 4-11 since.
Wow,
which is just I don't even understand how that can happen with that team.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. Want to thank our great guests today: Sean Coleman, Ryan Miller, and Joe Theismann, plus Jay Hasselman from Edwin Watts. Go visit him. Tomorrow on the program, we are working on a number of different guests. Not ready to announce them just yet because we haven't confirmed any of them. 2.5 questions tomorrow. And remember, 5 favorite things will take place tomorrow. We expect to have the First Bank text line going again, so get your lists ready. 5 favorite things tomorrow. The topic, 5 favorite board games, your 5 favorite board games. Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio is coming up next. For Eli and Gabe, I'm Greg. Enjoy your Cinco de Mayo, everyone.
$1 bill, you can keep your pills.